Little recap here. Last session, there was it started off with the resurrection of Tynus around the same moment of uh damn, I can't think of his name. Um, Cyanarath coming back to using some sort of darkness spell to escape through the south, somewhat revealing a secret tunnel. Another name drop for
That
the
Cyanarath.
Eagle powers. Uh, Making his way through the southern tunnel and escaping in the darkness. The party was able to kind of feel their way around, eventually noticing that there was a false wall and finding their way into the. Well, I guess really you all took a moment and attempted to open the chest that was inside of the room, and it exploded in some sort of trap that released acid and fumes from the black dragon mouths that circled the entirety of the dragon temple. As everybody made their way then into that little alcove to the south, you all progressed up through the tunnel where there were guards and acolytes waiting. And from there, after a little battle, I believe it turned into a long rest, and then investigating the rest of that kind of general area, you realize that there were guard barracks as well as a bit of a like vault where they had kept the treasures, and it was behind one of the entrance areas that was hidden behind a false door that was left cracked and open. Apparently, as they made a hasty escape, as Sayonarath uh, would have tried to escape the area. You all were able to find, shackle, and tie up to the bunks a single cultist who apparently had been forgotten, wasted, and drunk inside of the vault, as well as then going back towards the temple, finding gold coins were about the only thing that was left unmelted by the acid inside of the temple at the chest, and you were able to find a small location that had a few dragon guard drakes as well as some dragon eggs, and you all met a roper. And we left off shortly after the roper fight and the dispatching of the last of the guard drakes. You all are essentially finished off with what is left of the Dragon Hatchery and have the option to let me know what you would like to do with the eggs, the cultist, and essentially anything else that you might want to do while you are still in this cave system before heading back off to find Leosin.
Landarosa.
What about Landarosa?
You kept you kept saying Cyanarath, which is a name
Yeah,
that I'm not familiar with.
Landarosa Cyanarath is that character's full name.
Oh, okay. I don't think you ever actually said that before.
It's been dropped a few times. May not be familiar, but yeah, Landarosa is the main name. What would you all like to do?
Well, I think that if we're gonna take these eggs, we need to take them back to Landarosa and the keep. Likely bring more danger upon them, but I'm not sure that at this point in time it's relevant. So they should be quite valuable or useful, depending what they're used for.
Raz, I have a feeling your mic is not working in the least bit because I see your shit open and I hear nothing coming from your voice.
Testing, testing.
That is better.
Oh yeah. Well, for the last couple times, I've just been suggesting interrogate the cultist, and then Tynus would have in character responded to Doc. I doubt Leosin is still at your keep.
I want to say, but I am not as familiar, but I am pretty sure you all knew that Leosin was planning on traveling to El Chirel, as he took some time to recover in Greenest and then moved north.
Yeah, Tynus knew that for sure, and definitely would have conveyed that to the party once Doc mentioned returning to the keep to speak to Leosin. He would have just let him know, like, he was on his way to El Terrell to meet up with a companion from his organization.
That location of significance? I don't remember hearing it.
The town of El Terrell.
Yeah.
It is the capital city of El Trinidad, which is a location about 200 miles north of Greenest. Overall, it is not something that you all ever asked about other locations, and it has not specifically come up except for in the moment where Leosin would have said he had plans that he had to share the information that he gathered while in the camp. So it was one of those things where you all had the opportunity to question Leosin, and nobody really had questions for him, so you never really got that information. That would have been the feast of many birds right around Thanksgiving when you all fed all of Greenest. You had like no questions at all for Leosin.
Yeah, Tynus would certainly confirm to the party that El Terrell has significance as a point on the road, and it's definitely significant to us as it is where we would likely go if we wanted to meet Leosin going further.
In our defense, we did have a new leader for that session as well. The retarded medic healer Nazi character.
My condolences.
Yes, I killed him and took his ear. Would you like the other one?
I have no need for it, but I appreciate the offer.
So out of curiosity, um, just like kind of out of character, I guess, was there something to do with Onthar Froome, who was like my kind of lead for this or whatever, and we just missed it? Because I never got like any reference or anything to do with him.
Oh. What's your background with Onthar?
Pretty sure he was my mentor. I picked one of those things off the sheet in the very beginning, and then I kind of just like improvised and said that he was having those weird dreams that everybody else was having, just so I could fit in. But I think he was like my mentor, and I like went searching for him. I think I don't know. I'd have to look back at that sheet. I just wrote his name down in the brief
So I think
description.
number 4 is Onthar Froome, a crusading warrior and champion of good, is your friend and mentor. He's asked you to travel to Greenest in search of rumors of increasing dragon activity. That sound like what you picked?
Yeah, that's it. The day man.
So
The
you
day
would
man.
100% know that Onthar Froome is a member of the Order of the Gauntlet, a paladin of Torm, and he is based out of Elturel. So when, again, I feel like I dropped that Leosin was heading towards Elturel, and I just missed that like backstory element from you that Onthar was your contact, but he was going to meet up with Onthar Froome.
Oh, perfect. Connecting dots as we speak.
So
Well,
if you say that in character on like any level of bringing up Onthar Froome, I think it would be but a moment before Tynus would actually confirm, because Tynus had just met with Onthar before actually coming down to join you all.
Perfect. Then the real question is, should we head to the keep first and wrap up any loose ends that we have here in town, or should we bypass Greenest altogether and head to El Torrell?
We do have reason to stop in the keep to resupply. I believe several of our people have realized the efficacy of other weapons.
Yeah, you guys are southeast of Greenest. There's really no reason to head to Elturel and bypass Greenest.
I'm not opposed to stopping by Greenest. It's always nice to get a little recognition for your deeds. But as far as resupplying, it seems like every time we stop there, we end up with less than what we came with.
Well, I bypassed it on my travel, so I can't say I know for sure. But I will say I would like to stop there personally. Resupplying would be very useful.
No, I definitely agree, and I'm looking forward to heading to El Toral before long and reuniting with my good friend Omthal Froome.
Oh, you know Onthar.
Yes, Onthar is, you could say, a brother of mine in many ways, and sort of my mentor, so to speak.
Well, I spoke with Antharfrum on my way here. He's going to be meeting with Leosin and El Terrell. So if we would like to convene with both of them, that's certainly where we should be heading after a brief respite in Greenest.
Yes, it sounds like our fates are intertwined in more ways than one, my friend.
Well then, for now, let's interrogate this cultist. Hopefully we can bring some new information to the meeting between those two. And of course, we'll be bringing these dragon eggs as well.
So just out of curiosity, how much does a dragon egg weigh? And do we have any idea how close they would be to hatching?
You could do an animal handling to try to figure out when they might be hatching or how close they might be to hatching. Other than that, let me look real quick at your character.
So Doc will gently shake one of the dragon eggs and flip it over and look at the bottom and ask it a question. How much longer do we have before you hatch?
Could I take a look at that? Uh, with my character being a scholar of dragons, you may know a little more about eggs.
You can roll an animal handling check. You're the one person who did not.
Oh, I wasn't even looking. Sorry. Yeah, I just. Doo-doo-doo.
So the eggs
I was just
themselves,
referencing a magic 8 ball.
the eggs themselves weigh over 150 pounds. So they will instantly encumber two of you. The only person who can lift one of these eggs is essentially vicious.
I can carry one, but we have two.
The eggs seem to be rather mature for dragon eggs. But overall, I don't think any of those are necessarily high enough that you all have enough understanding to have a good understanding of when they would hatch. But they seem to be mature, and from what you can gather that this entire camp cleared out and they left dragon eggs here, it's probably not safe to move them, and it's probably why they left everybody behind here.
Can I identify the potential color of the dragon that would hatch from these eggs?
Here's an idea. Would it be better off for the entire world if we were to kill the dragon eggs, dragons, dragon hatchlings, and all that right now?
I would say that depends on the dragon.
To tell you the truth, I'm not quite well versed enough in these types of things to make that sort of executive decision. It would be pretty cool to have a couple of dragons on our side, though, but I'm not really sure if that's a possibility either.
Assuming this cult's behavior to an extent, I'm going to guess these are chromatic dragons, certainly. I would be quite surprised if they'd gotten their hand on metallic dragon eggs. So keeping them with us as companions is not advisable, though killing them outright, while I would rather not do so, it may be our best bet since we cannot move them very long from here without risking the potential lives inside the eggs.
One egg is blue, one egg is black.
Ah, a blue dragon and a black dragon. Well, if
So
I
what?
can take a moment and pray for guidance, would you all allow me that?
Of course, anything to help guide our actions would be good.
Yes, I'm in no rush, and we could use a little bit of guidance. And Doc will light a cigarette. When you said that they that we could tell by them not moving them or whatever, is it because that they would potentially be like about to hatch, or that they would potentially die if we moved them?
I don't think overall, um, that's even with a 19. I don't think you like have that much knowledge, like that much understanding of these random eggs. Just because dragons, knowing about dragons is one thing, knowing about raising dragons and raising their eggs is even more obscure. So it was kind of looking for a nat 20 on one of those searches. Tinus was maybe a little bit lower with the actual background in dragons, but regardless, that was an extremely high DC to interpret the eggs and have like an understanding of where they are at. My point is that on an intelligence level, once you all found dragon eggs, I think it would be pretty easy to understand that this entire retinue left behind was left behind because of the dragon eggs. So I think it's up to you all as players role playing your characters to try to figure out whether you think it's dangerous to move the eggs because it might kill them. It's dangerous to move the eggs because they might hatch immediately. It's dangerous to move the eggs because of this. But for some reason, the cult left dragon eggs behind. And this is a cult that worships dragons.
Well, I think it's safe to assume that they were still valuable, too valuable for us to leave them even for a short time while we seeked out other help. So I think that we have no choice but to take them with us if we're not going to just destroy them now.
And Tynus will step away from the group and attempt to commune with his god. And he will bow his head in prayer and ask Lothander, as the father and having dominion over birth and all things under this sun, I ask you, my God, is this the correct action to end a life, even an evil one, before it has a chance to bloom into the world?
And what spell are you trying to cast?
Ba-ba-da. He wasn't actually casting a spell. That was just, I assume clerics are. Oh wait, that's the thing. I will use one of my channel divinities to do that. Just calling down the attention of Lothander.
You can pray. You don't really get an immediate response.
Unfortunate. He will return to the group and he will say, for whatever reason, I was not able to receive guidance on this matter. Uh, if we can only, and this is a foolish mortal's understanding, if we can only bring one egg with us, I would suggest abandoning the black dragon egg, or even destroying it outright, and carrying the blue dragon egg with us.
Well, I think we can rig up a little setup fairly easily to carry the second one while Vicious takes care of the first. The real question for me is if we approach the town of Greenest with two dragon eggs, will we have trouble with them trying to make the decision for us? Although we are heroes of the area, I don't suspect that after everything that's happened that they will be too fond of us bringing two dragon eggs into their town.
That is assuming they can even identify dragon eggs on sight.
I imagine for most people that two gigantic eggs, regardless of whether they're dragons or drakes or anything for that matter, would probably look suspicious.
Perhaps, but carried by the saviors of your town, I assume you would, out of at least gratitude, assume that they know what they're doing.
So can we go ahead and just try to fashion up like a like little kind of rig or whatever to carry the second dragon egg between the two of us, and then have Vicious like backpack the first one out of there?
Yeah, so right now, Vicious has 102 pounds more that she can carry without being encumbered. Doc has 30 pounds more that he can carry without being encumbered. And Tynus has 40 pounds more that he can carry without being encumbered. You all can carry more, you would just become encumbered and just move slow.
Mm. Well, Vicious, carry the blue egg, and I, mm, I'm not sure it's worth the hassle, though. If it would only slow our travel, yes, I think we should carry both. at least until I have some word from Lothander on what action I am to take.
You have actual divination spells as a cleric, and then eventually you get actual ways to commune with your deity. That's why I stopped that.
Ooh,
Like, there's
maybe
actual
we should.
spells that you can prepare, but you have to actually have the foresight to use those and use a spell slot.
Ah, I don't have any of those prepared currently. Darn it. All right, maybe after a long rest I can do that. But
So what is
that's
it? We need to
something new.
free up a total of 50 pounds each for the two of us to carry it without being encumbered.
£10. Each egg weighs what? 120? You said.
150 or more.
Oh, okay. So could we fashion up like a Huh. Yeah, I guess we'll just have to do encumbered. It's not worth like ditching that much gear to try to carry them. So I was gonna say I have like a rope that weighs 10 pounds. I can eat all my rations. That's 10 pounds. And then torches. I have a crossbow that weighs 18 pounds. But to free up like 70 pounds is quite a bit.
Yeah, the problem
Yeah, let's just take
overall
the encumbrance.
is that it's 300 plus pounds in just dragon eggs, and the three of you can carry 375 pounds total.
Yeah, all right. I think we should go that route then and just be encumbered. Um, Tynosaur, will you interrogate this man before, or shall we take him with us and interrogate him once we get to Greenest?
I have no intention of bringing him back with us. We will interrogate him now.
Are you implying that we will kill him after interrogation?
I thought that was assumed. He is a cultist, and he is a threat to the world. While I do value the lives of others, unless at some point during this interrogation he has shown me that he has turned over a new leaf and will be only a benefit to the world going further, I have no intention of keeping him alive.
Perhaps we could use him as a sort of a pack mule, so to speak, and have him assist with the dragon egg and allow the town of Greenest to decide his fate.
I have no vested interest in his life in particular, ending it or otherwise, so sure. So long as I can gain some information out of him, that's all of my interest in this person.
Sounds like our path is laid out, and once again, we are in agreement. So I guess we'll just move over to where we left this dude at, and Tynus can do his interrogation.
Do you want to take further time to plan what you were going to ask before you actually move into his presence, or are you ready to go there now?
Oh, definitely, I'd
Because
like
I
to.
assume you just said I plan to kill him after interrogating him while you were not next to this person.
Oh yeah, we were no we were still in basically the dragon egg chamber having that discussion. But yeah, on the way there, I would like to sort of talk with the party about what exactly we're going to try to get out of him. The information Tynus is currently seeking to hopefully get out of a cultist, bearing in mind that this is a cultist not only who is not one of the higher ups based on the fact that he isn't, transformed in any way or showing any specific draconic traits, but also in the fact that they were willing to just abandon him when they packed up camp tells me he's not going to be privy to anything too in depth. But it certainly would be some good information to get out there. That, for one thing, I would like to interrogate him on one, what towns in the areas the dragon cult has previously attacked to get that sort of Tynus has a general idea of that, but I'd like the whole party to be in on that one too. And then also, how many potentially how many, if he knows their numbers are in terms of captives. So just sort of general information that a foot soldier might know, but that a general or a higher up probably wouldn't convey to him.
Yes, I suspect the most valuable information that he could carry would be where they're headed next and what their potential plan is.
I wouldn't even give him that much credit. I mean, leaving behind someone who knows your plans is a very risky move. Then again, he was in an area that we may not have ever even come across. Still, it's worth asking.
Yes, I have a feeling that at least we can find out some sort of like an overarching goal of this cult, and potentially at least like north, south, east, or west to the direction that they may be headed next and where the threat may lie.
And what they're looking for raiding these towns.
Yes, I think that would be a good course of action. We'll leave the questioning to you, my friend. And if you don't mind, I'd rather stay out of the zone of truth myself.
Of course. Though I am not the
Not that I
most
have anything to
I am
hide.
not the most charismatic of people, so I would appreciate it if you maybe stayed out of the zone of truth, but stuck around just in case we needed someone a bit more persuasive.
Of course, I don't have anything to hide from you. You're my companions, no doubt, but I don't want you to be embarrassed by anything I might disclose while under the influence of magic. I've not exactly lived the most honorable life, so to speak, and I've dabbled in a couple of things and some ladies that I'm not necessarily proud of.
Yes, that will be information I'm not going to request. But for now, let's proceed onward. And having said all of that before getting to him, we would now be willing to enter the room and try to confront this man or woman directly. No, it was a man.
Who are you? What's happening? What? Where?
Tynus will approach him and he will say, calm yourself for now. You have been captured. You see, your companions abandoned you here after they decided to pack up and leave. You were quite inebriated, and we decided that we might need you for some assistance.
They left you for dead, and now they found themselves the same route, and you're the only living one, so you could say that they did you a favor on accident. And if you play your cards right, you may live another day.
I'm gonna grin.
How could? But they would never abandon me. You're wrong. You're lying.
I assure you we're not. We have no
Who
reason
do you
to lie to you.
serve?
I serve the great god Lothander.
This is some joke for such a pitiful deity to represent themselves here. Be gone with you. Where is Frulam?
And who is Fulong, if I may ask?
Imbecile. Where? Who leads you? Release me now.
You are not in a position to be making demands. I suggest you answer our questions, otherwise, you will not live to see the next dawn.
My life is Tiamat's.
Well, now your life is ours, as Tiamat has abandoned you.
Yes, one might say that what belongs to Tiamat now belongs to us. And I guess if the dragon eggs are nearby, I'll kind of show them off and imply that I doubt that if you had any remaining allies, they'd have left these behind. We've killed Dedrosa and Alandarosa, should I say, and this keep is ours.
Blue dragon has fallen. You know not what you do.
We are
Perhaps you
very
can tell
aware.
us. Would I have noticed if you casted Zone of Truth
Oh
already,
yeah,
or is that like
it's not
detected?
something that would be hidden. I would you would notice once I've cast it.
Okay, okay.
I'm gonna tap him on the shoulder and say, "You should tell us what we want to know. It'll go better for you." And they'll grin.
Foul blood.
Regardless of your opinions on our companions, we do have your dragon eggs, we do have your keep, and we do have your life. Despite what you may think, your deity has already abandoned you.
Where is the cult headed, and what is their next plan of action? And can I like hold my rapier up to his neck and try to like intimidate him?
You can do an intimidation check.
Can I get like assistance from one of them, or should we make separate checks as like Vicious is grinning at him or whatever?
I think just a straight check then.
Or look like. Actually, I'm gonna try to proc an intimidation assistance by saying, "Vicious, hold this one still while I slit his throat. If he has no valuable information, I see no reason for him to live."
Sure.
He
So,
presents his neck willingly. May Tiamat flow through my
Julian.
veins.
So, I mean, I'm trying to make an intimidation check. So, before he presents his neck willingly, should I roll my intimidation?
Yeah, same thing, just do an intimidation check. I was looking for more than just the shore.
21.
Hmm. And what were you asking? You were looking for information where the cult is going?
Yeah, where they're going and what's their next like course of action as far as like the overarching plan.
Intend to free our Lord, be it by our own blood or yours. The people of the Sword Coast will feed Tiamat in her freedom from the Nine Hells.
And where are they headed to take the next course of action?
Would they tell me if they care so little as to leave me back?
He has a point. He is clearly very expendable to them.
Yes, you are awfully loyal to a group of travelers that would just leave you for dead.
The mortals mean nothing. Tiamat is everything. Tiamat is my lord, and she will protect me.
Will she? She hasn't done so far.
they've abandoned you.
I'll give him an unarmed strike while Vicious is holding him and try to intimidate him one more time to tell me what direction they would have left in, if that's a possibility.
You can certainly try.
I want to punch him right in the liver. Oh, that'll hurt.
So you can make an attack with advantage, unarmed strike, and then do an intimidation.
Where are they headed, boy?
Tiamat's path is always to the north. The north. To destroy all of the great cities of this pitiful land.
If destruction was your only aim, why have you been sparing so many lives as you laid waste to these villages? What are you and your people looking for?
Sparing lives. We've been feeding them.
So you've been feeding the people you have been kidnapping to your dragons? Is that what I'm to take from this?
Meat has to come from somewhere.
Disgusting.
Are there more dragons than the giant one that we shot from the sky and fleed? Or was that the main one that that serves you?
Tiamat's spawn is abundant. They are prolific, and they live throughout. Cannot stop the dragons from taking what is theirs. They will once again rule this entire realm beneath Tiamat.
This Tiamat sounds awfully powerful and all-knowing. I'm curious, as I have no previous allegiances, what exactly would I need to do to pledge myself to this one, and what might I receive in return?
Riches of Tiamat are abundant. You can die for her. You can burn for her.
Yet you have no powers or riches yourself, so what has she blessed you with that you are so ready to die for her?
The rightful order of this realm is more important than the life of a few humans.
Is there no good left in you? Do you not have any allegiances from before you fell to this dragon lord?
What is goodness but a pitiful understanding of the way of the world?
And it is now that Tynus will cast a zone of truth on him. I have a few more questions, and I don't
What's your
want
spell
to be
DC?
deceived. Spell DC is a
I
13.
thought you cast it already that old time.
Oh no, I haven't
Yeah, so
cast
did
it.
I.
Why did we wait till after we did all of our questioning?
Oh, we were done questioning. I haven't asked.
I thought that was a hilarious aspect of all of that.
Yeah, I haven't asked any
That's
of the
why I
questions I
asked
wanted
if
to
I
ask
would have
you.
noticed. My bad. That's why I was asking if I would have noticed that you cast it.
So he would in
Yeah,
fact
no, I hadn't
fail
cast
the
it.
test.
All right. And I am aware that he has failed. Nice. I'm glad they actually added that wording in. remains within the boundaries of truth. Good to know. Now then, I have cast Zone of Truth. As you can probably plainly see, you will no longer be able to deceive us, even if you were to try to. So let's begin again.
Your god's
What are
pitiful
you looking
magic means
for?
nothing.
You are tempting your fate, you pathetic creature. I. And he will take a deep breath. Let's start again. What are you looking for when you are attacking these towns? Beyond meat.
Gifts, presents, worship.
For Tiamat.
Certainly not for a god like yours.
Ooh, he's. I should not be getting angry. Ah! I didn't ask you about your opinion on my god. I am asking you about yours. What kind of presents are you looking for? Are you perhaps searching for something magical? An artifact, maybe?
Tiamat appreciates magical gifts.
Interesting. And are you looking for a specific magical gift?
Tiamat's glory.
Does this gift have a name?
Why would such as myself know the name of the greatest gifts that we could give to Tiamat, when there are so many to gift?
Fair enough. I doubt they would let someone like you in on that information. But you can tell me. What exactly? How many does your order number?
We are throughout this entire land. We are the innumerable, well beyond the scope of your counting, well beyond the view of your pitiful god.
Nothing is beyond the view of the sun. How many do you number in this land alone?
He just stares at you with a steadfast stare.
Hmm.
Vicious, show this one your maul so that he knows that we're serious. I think the blue blood of Landerosa shall let you know our intent, and perhaps you can let us know what mortal did Landerosa answer to.
He probably doesn't know anything else. Can we kill him now?
He knows more.
You may well have dispatched Landerosa, but you cannot stop the tide of Tiamat's coming.
I'm not sure that you're right or wrong either way, but perhaps we could give it a shot. But my question lies a little bit more on the microscope of things. If, for instance, Landerosa had a boss, who would that be? So that I know who we can check off the list next. We're always looking for a good fight.
The entirety of the cult is all paled in comparison to the glory of Tiamat.
Just perhaps like the next rung on the ladder, though. I doubt it jumps directly from Landerosa to Tiamat. Is there a powerful sorcerer or mind control wizard or something like that that Landerosa answers to? Who has the power of this giant dragon that we shot with the bolt and fell from the sky?
Dragons rule, they are not ruled.
I suspect you're a little delusional, my friend. Perhaps the hangover has not worn off completely, but if a dragon ruled, I doubt that the shot from the ballista would have made it flee so quickly to leave behind those and fail to take the keep from but a couple of measly humans.
Your pitiful lies mean nothing.
Not sure how long you were passed out in this cave for, but we shot the dragon directly with the ballista, and it fled much like the remainder of your party before it fell to our hand. And I'll give him one more gut punch and ask him one more time, Who did Landarosa serve? Do I need to make a zone of truth check if I'm like entering the little area or whatever?
Yep, it's a charisma save versus whatever Tinus' spell DC is.
That's a 13.
We all serve those who are above us. Landarosa had those as well as us. We all serve the wearers of purple.
Ooh, the wearers of purple. Finally.
Would we have previously saw anyone wearing purple? I mean, I remember wasn't Landarosa originally clad in purple, and there was like maybe one more. Would we have identified that other one?
I mean, this is one of the shitstorms of Ben dropping out. Ben has the name of the person that you are asking about, as well as, yes, you saw two people, including Landarosa, as wearers of purple. This person has already given you the name of the person. It's Frulam Mondoth. But they're not going to give up that information, even under a zone of truth. But that's, again, one of those things, like, out of character, you guys should still have Ben. Ben coaxed... Ben got that information out of the kobolds when he basically de-escalated the burning mill, when he convinced the kobolds that you all were working with the cult. And that's when you would have gotten that Frulam Mondoth led the assault on Greenest, and Landarosa was just like essentially Frulam's right-hand man. But again, that is not information that you are getting from this cultist. That is the shitstorm of having a player drop out who essentially would be that font of knowledge.
All right. Well, I will try to usher Tinus away for a moment to have a private little word with him, not in front of the cultist.
As long as we're still within 60 feet so I can keep the spell up.
Do you think they would let a green skin like you live past your usage? Will die just as us. You don't belong to this culture. Free me. Let me go, and you will be rewarded.
You're not in a with anyone.
Save your life and save mine. Come with me, you will have riches beyond your imagination.
We have no intention of joining your order.
That is why you two have walked away. He is talking directly to
Oh,
Vicious.
gotcha. Doc, what is it?
I'm not sure how much more information this one has, and any information he does, I don't think he's likely to share with us. And to tell you the truth, I think it's better off that we make use of him as best we can, but kill him. I don't think that he would harm the dragon eggs, but I'm not particularly sure that he will help us get them back to Greenest, but perhaps it's worth a try.
Before we end this, I would still like to ask him about the towns and about the eggs.
Oh, for sure, for sure. I just wanted to share that little bit of perspective with you, as I don't think that this one has any good left in him. With
Yes,
that,
it's unfortunate.
you could play out whatever else you want with Vicious before we return or whatever.
Do you respond at all to his second plea for freedom?
I don't think we're going to get any more information out of this guy. Is it okay if I slit his throat?
I guess us. Are we assuming we came back over?
Yeah, she's talking to you guys. At very least, she's talking to you guys.
All right. There are two more things I at least need to attempt to get out of this fool. You have attacked Greenest. You have attacked Erebor. Has your cult made its way to Easting?
The entirety of the human lands is ripe with the cult of the dragon. Tiamat's glory will rise.
And have you gathered meat from all of these lands?
You must always call the flock.
Very well. But before I let you go, I still need to know. What is the significance of these eggs to you and your cult? Why were they left behind here?
Any of us would give our life to protect the life of a dragon.
Even an unborn dragon?
Why would we not?
Well then, I suppose these eggs are better off destroyed now, before they become one of your number.
Provoke
And
Tiamat's ire, and you will only find death for yourselves.
I'm pretty
hmm,
sure we've already crossed that threshold.
oh yes, I assume we already have after we showed one of her children its place in the world.
You can still save yourselves, leave the eggs with me, and be gone from this place.
I'm gonna laugh.
We have no intention of leaving anything with you, not even your own life. You will join your mistress as sustenance for her, since that is what you so dearly wish, and her children will fall to the hands of man, as they have always been destined to. And Tynus will end the spell. That's all we're getting out of this one.
Now can I kill him?
Yes, have you any last words before Vicious bashes your skull in and ends your bloodline?
Tiamat's glory be all.
All
Finish
right.
him.
I'm gonna slit his throat.
And with that, you all are able to dispatch the cultist.
That was about as much information as expected to get out of someone who was left behind. We should start making our way to Greenest, and we'll certainly be able to bring something to Laosin and Onthar. I don't know if they know these names yet, or the reference to those who wear purple, but for sure it will be good confirmation at the very least.
With that, I guess we will load up the dragon eggs as best we can and begin the transportation back to Greenest. I would like to search this one and see if he has any valuables or equipment or anything on him, though, before we leave.
You end up finding a few coins. He's got like 3 gold and like 8 silver on him.
Nothing as far as, like, I'm assuming no, like, clues as to where the cult would have headed or anything. No, like, little secret map or anything. Yeah, so I guess with that, head back to Greenest.
Yeah, he doesn't have anything in particular on him that would guide you further.
I sort of figured. I figured it was worth asking, though. No post-it notes like, "Hey, bruv, you was still sleeping, so we left you behind. Meet us at so and so."
Yeah, I was thinking you were asking that.
So you all are leaving the cave, taking the 2 dragon eggs that you have, and heading back towards Greenest. It'd be about like a 4-day trek. Overall, be pretty uneventful, and you can arrive back in Greenest the next day. Or 4 days later, rather. My bad.
All right. Uh, I don't think we're planning to stay in Greenest for long, so while we're here, I want to pick up a couple things. I mean, of course, we definitely want to do a long rest so we can recover from all of that, and I want to pick up a healing kit.
On
They have
Oh,
2
go
healing
ahead.
kits for sale at the equipage.
I'll take both. I definitely want to keep one for myself, and I believe I believe Vicious still has like 6 charges, but I definitely purchased both for the road.
On I would like to meet up with Escobar and try to have any um, sort of like conversation with him, and then possibly secure like a wagon or something. I don't know, a couple pack mules or something, so that we can transport these eggs with us to El Torel.
I'd like to refill back to the. We had 4 javelins to start with, so I need to buy 3. I don't think I lost that many, but okay, so I'll buy 3 and refill on crossbow bolts.
Do you need the actual prices? Do you have the page in front of you right now?
Yeah, I'm working on it.
The random gold we just got from that dude should be enough to take care of the javelins and the crossbow bolts. I think we'll need to dock out 50 for the medical kits.
Yeah, I've got the party loot list open. I'm doing the math.
Would we have any trouble finding Escobar or Tarball?
Well, you know, Escobar is the Castellan. He is the keeper at the actual keep. Um, Tarbaugh is back in the governor's mansion in the northwest of Greenest.
Okay, so I would think Escobar would be our priority first, just because I'm a soldier. So naturally, I think I would like go more towards like the military aspect over the government aspect.
And what are your thoughts as you all arrive back to Greenest with dragon eggs?
Basically just to secure like a small cart or wagon
Oh
or
no, I mean like, are
um,
you just
just a
openly
place.
carrying massive eggs into the city?
No, I think we would be like as discreet as possible, covering them or whatever, with like you know whatever like leather or skins or whatever we have. Um, but obviously, it's 300 pounds worth of something, so I'm sure it would draw some attention. But we're definitely not like openly carrying them.
Well met, Doc. It's good to see that you've lived, though. Disappointing to know your party has all been lost.
Yes, it's very unfortunate, but to each his own. We've all our own paths, and as we lose some, others rejoin, and so is the way of life. But the truth is, we will be departing soon to meet up with my mentor, Elandaros. I wait, what's his name?
Onthar
Leosin.
Froom is your
Antar Froom.
connection, yeah, and then Leosin Eltrandar is
Yes, we will be headed off soon to meet up with Leosin and take care of our next step in this journey to defeating the cult and the dragons. Unfortunately, we will need to secure some additional supplies. We'll need a small cart or wagon, perhaps a couple pack mules. I know you have not much, but it's necessity.
Hmm. I do believe the governor has secured horses for you at the request of Leosin. They should be prepared at the stables when you are ready to travel. I. It may be more difficult to secure pack mules or a cart, but it is certainly a possibility. What might you have to? Never mind, it's not for me to ask. That would be something that you can certainly attempt to gather from the stables.
Excellent. Appreciate it, friend. And I hate to ask any additional resources from you, but have you any powerful magic items or things that might aid us along our journey? I know that your priority is to keep the keep safe. To keep the keep safe. I know your priority is to make sure the keep remains safe and take to the townspeople, but the truth is, the greater good may be more valuable. And I think for now, this town is safe from what we've done. Perhaps you could aid us with some powerful magic or items along our travels.
I am no enchanter, sir. The cult has taken what magic there was in this town. They're stripping the land of all magical items. Surely you understand this.
Of course, but we did save the keep, so I thought perhaps deep in the treasure vault or something like that, you may have something useful to us along our way.
I believe the governor paid you for your services, and while we appreciate it, you can only strong arm us for so much good.
Oh, my intention is not to strong arm you, my friend. Again, we search the greater good. I have no ill intention towards these people, and we know you're grateful for what we've done. I just thought that perhaps you would think outside the box a little bit and maybe have something that would aid us in our journey. Not gold, but magic items or something like that. Perhaps that was locked away somewhere where it was less useful to you.
You will surely have to stop the cult from doing what they will, and in time you can perhaps find these things where those who are more well off can be free of them. but I believe you mistake the simple farmers that we are here for something greater.
No worries, friend. I thought I would ask. Often the most valuable of treasures is tucked away somewhere and not put to use when it could be better utilized in plain sight. And with that, if nobody else has anything else for him, I say we go see Tarball.
Yeah, just out of character, you guys are in a land that the cult has literally been going around raiding for magical items and literally taking everything gold and magical from the land.
Well, yeah, obviously, but they didn't take the keep because we saved it. So I thought they might have had something locked up in their treasure chest or vault or something that would aid us on our journey. And I wasn't trying to strong arm.
We could definitely ask what magic item has been taken from this place. Uh, I mean, finding out as much information about what they're gathering as possible definitely should be one of our goals. So, uh, I don't believe Tynus has met this person, but and he didn't go with Doc. But I'd want to ask what magical items may have been taken from Greenest during the raid, if he has any information on that.
We do not keep records of everyone's heirlooms and gifts from the gods. I just know that most of what they were raiding for throughout many of these cities has been everything of value. And among those things has always been the magical gifts that we are bestowed by our deities. As I understand some of them from. Give me 1 second to actually look for the name because I wasn't prepared to give you guys a list of magical items.
I mean, if it's no relevant information, you don't need to inconvenience yourself. We're
Like,
literally
the
just trying to
priest of
figure out the plot
Shantia
stuff.
gave you guys gifts that were the magical items that she spared to you. Um, in basic, as a gift for saving the actual temple. But that's one of the things, like, those were the first and about the only magical items that this place had to spare. Um, yeah, Falcon Moon. Eaden Falcon Moon.
Who got gifts?
I
Uh,
believe that was Ben's character had like the robe with the patches, and then
Oh, right.
there's
uh,
scrolls as well as actual potions in that list.
so yeah.
Yeah, that robe was pretty cool.
Right, cool. So that was just a general curiosity on my part. Um, that would be all the questions I have for this person. We wanted to go talk to who next?
Next would be Tarball Night Hill, the one with the horses for us.
Mm. And have we taken our long rest yet, or are we still have waiting on that?
You all would have taken rests on the actual path here. This is much longer than just simple days. It was 4 days to get here.
Gotcha, gotcha.
So Tarbaugh would point you off that he secured horses. They are at the stables for you all. Do you have any questions that you want to ask the governor?
Tarball, is there any additional information or anything that you could share with us that would aid us in the quest to defeating this cult as we continue along the long dark path?
We do not have. We don't have anyone attempting to gather further information. What we were privy to was most of what was apparently the whisperings of the cultists as they began to infiltrate our own town here. They seem to have spread lies that everyone was left murdered and annihilated under the path of the dragon, that they could sow fear before them.
Much appreciated, friend. May your deity shine brightly upon you and you keep these people safe as best you can without our aid. We appreciate you, and we're glad that we were able to help this town and save y'all from the dragon. And should we meet again, I'd be glad to be entertained as much as I entertain you as well, friend.
Shantia's blessing be upon you.
And I think probably that would be it for me. As far as this town's concerned, I'd be ready to load up and get out of here with these dragon eggs as best we can.
What are we going to do if they hatch?
I think we'll probably have to cross that road if we come to it.
Gotcha.
I could at least sing some show tunes to keep them docile for a little bit.
I found the spell I was looking for.
Is that some sort of ancient magic?
One could say it's from old scrolls I read about the land of the lost.
All right, and I found the spell I was looking for, definitely. If I could cast it here, would that be a problem?
If it's fireball and we're inside, it could be a problem.
Oh no. All right, cool. I got this. Then yeah, here we go. Tinus will let's see. I don't think there's a temple in this town.
Temple of Shantia is number 3.
Ah, perfect. That'd be a great place to do this. Then yeah, Tinus will head up to the Temple of Shantia. Shantia. Da, da, da. Yeah, she's connected to Lothander. Cool. All right, yeah. Tinus will head up. Wait, no. Sorry. Tinus will head up to the Temple of Shantia, and he will cast Augury. Looks like the one of the material costs is, let's see, specially marked sticks, bones, or similar tokens worth at least
If it
25
doesn't
gold
consume
pieces.
them, your actual uses them.
I thought it was just anything that costed the gold pieces. All right. Well then, yeah, he will cast Augury and attempt to commune with Lothander, and he will pray for guidance on the topic of killing the or destroying the dragon eggs, and whether whether or not that would be a wise course of action. Considering that Lothander is the god of birth, he assumes that he has some dominion over the idea of ending a life before it was born. Let's see. Oh, I want to. You don't mind if I roleplay that, do you?
Never. You are most welcome to do as you would.
All right. So this will be a ritual casting, and he will set aside, or after speaking to whomever happens to be running the temple to Shantia, he will acquire some sort of room or something to that effect where he can cast in peace, and he will begin ritual casting augury, setting aside some time and using his spell focus as the components. He will pray to Lathander, and he will say, "Ah, he who is above all, the light of this world and the coming dawn, he who has brought life into this world, I beseech your aid. We have, in our travels in protecting this land from a great oncoming evil, acquired potential seeds of that evil. And I must know, is it in your best light that we put down these seeds before they could potentially bring chaos and rot upon your people and this land under your light? Or would you find such a despicable action, a snuffing of life before it can even be brought into the world, reprehensible?" And he will be
All right, yeah,
just
so
deep
you
in
would have
prayer.
to actually spend 25 gold to buy a component for augury, but you can have done that anywhere if you just take 25 gold off of yourself.
Totally.
If you're going in the party loot list, can you mark off however much gold it costs for a bunch of tobacco too? I feel like Doc's running low.
Yep,
Like
marking
a
off
silver.
25 gold. All right, I'll mark off a silver. Doo-doo.
Yeah, not the fancy stuff, the cheap stuff.
I think we could indulge here and there.
All right, and that is the. I s- I would say he would have absolutely done that before beginning the ritual, of course. So that is the gold cost accounted for.
So you are within 30 minutes of killing the dragon eggs.
Uh, ooh. We are about to travel with them. You're right. So, well, he wasn't. No, I don't think we're within 30 minutes of killing the dragon eggs.
You are
We're
going to get no
within 30
response then.
minutes. we're within 30 minutes of traveling with them, I guess.
You have to be within 30 minutes of the action that you are requesting an augury of. You cannot request whether it is a good idea to kill or not to kill something if you are not ready to kill it.
Oh
I
wait, are you
see.
saying that if we don't do something, that the dragon eggs are going to die in 30 minutes? Or are you saying for his spell to work, we have to be
Nah,
intending to kill
yeah,
them
it's
within
for
30
his spell
minutes?
to work.
It's
Oh,
like the
That
okay.
was me
weakest level
phrasing it wrong.
divination spell that there is.
I got you. I was thinking like we needed to incubate them in the next 30 minutes or they were going to die when you said that. I got you.
Nah, that was. I don't think I have any other better divination yet, but for now, yeah, I guess that spell would have more or less just failed. That is what he would have been next asking for, and no, they aren't. I don't think any of our party has decided going forward if we're gonna kill these eggs. We're just deciding to travel to Leosin with them. Could the augury potentially have that effect, telling us whether traveling with them was a right idea? Because our options or our decision really was keep them or kill them. We weren't really planning to do anything else.
Um, well, I feel like you all still have more than 30 minutes of time inside of Greenest, because you still have to pick up the things. I would just basically say that, like, trying to conserve your spell slot by doing it as a ritual and in the actual temple is probably going to thwart any ability to actually have it be useful. Just use the actual resource, and when you are ready to travel, because it has to be within 30 minutes of the spell. But, as far as things go, you can certainly do, I think, yeah, it gets worse as you cast it more times during the day, so there's less of a chance that it's effective. But what I would say is that you can certainly try to ask the question again and see, but you want to be prepared to do what you are asking about doing. Because it is essentially like looking into the next little bit of your future for some sort of response from your god. And if it's travel that you are asking about, you all should essentially be ready to travel. If it is being ready to kill them and you want to know about killing them, you should be ready to kill them.
Noted. That's definitely good to know going forward. All right. Then yeah, for now that spell would have failed, but hey, at least I didn't expend a resource, and now I know how to use it better.
Yeah, so just write down in your actual stuff that you have however you want to flavor the component for that. Um, Gem inlaid sticks, dragon bones might be a pretty solid one. Ornate cards, however you actually go forward with essentially a divination tool worth 25 gold.
I'll go with dragon bones since we're probably not going to be for want of those.
So in the northeast corner of Greenest is where the stables are. Onthar, or not Onthar, Escobar as well as Tarbaugh would have pointed you off towards the stables. When you do go there, they do have either a draft horse or a mule available, either of which can carry over 400 pounds worth of gear. The draft horse is more expensive than the mule.
And what would be the benefit one way or the other?
Draft horse carries more weight, I believe.
I would say the biggest thing is going to be that the draft horse is more easier to actually like work with than a mule, but overall they are pretty similar in what they accomplish.
But neither one affects like travel speed or anything like that.
They are both slower than a riding horse, but I don't think that's going to change too much of your travel speed.
How much moolah are we talking here for one versus the other?
He has the mule for 12 gold, and he has the draft horse for 65 gold.
And what is it? It just be like an animal handling type thing to get it to travel with us, or is it just a waste of money to get the draft horse, or is it legitimately like worth doing?
Yeah, the animal handling would essentially be a little bit easier on the draft horse, just because you will have a horse among other horses. that would be a little more likely to just kind of go along with things. And that's kind of the big difference.
I've wasted gold on things that were far less valuable. So, with these dragon eggs, I think, or I guess out of character, I would say is make sure nobody's around. But with our precious cargo, I think that it's probably worth the additional investment, to tell you the truth.
Very much so.
So yeah, I guess we'll get the draft horse and like whatever supplies we would need to load them up or whatever, and then again, discreetly in the stable. We're trying to keep this whole situation on the low though.
I think it would be best to load up this particular precious cargo after we've left the town proper.
And they've got a wagon for 42 gold if you want to be able to simply put everything on the wagon and have the draft horse carry it. Otherwise, you can basically set things up on the draft horse, basically just like packed to its sides.
Yeah, I think we'll go ahead and do like the 100 gold package for the horse and the wagon.
It'd be 102 gold.
They would be happy to sell it to
Yeah,
you
that
for
sounds
100.
good.
Yep. So for 100 gold, you guys can get a draft horse with a wagon, all of the actual like barding basically to like mount everything, and like I can't actually think of like the all of the names for things, but they give you feed for the next 4 days and inquire where you all are heading. But after a little bit of time, if you guys throw in another 5 silver, you are set up for feed for 5 horses for the next 7 days, which it is about a 6-day travel to El Chorel.
Perfect. And I am good to go if everyone else is as well.
Well, I restocked. I'm good. I still have 7 uses left of my healing kit. You can only use it once per day per person.
Oh, I
You
need
should
to
have
add to
less
my
than that.
character sheet.
I counted used on 3. Okay.
I know at some point you had used it on all 4 of the actual group.
Okay, well then I'll count one more.
Yeah, I think you forgot to mark the last time when I asked you for it. So
And
it would
then
be 4, and then we have an extra one too. If you want to carry the second one, or if we want to just keep maybe the one with only 6 uses on me because I'm less likely to use it, and then you keep a fresh one.
Yeah, we bought 2 more, so we
yeah,
can
did
give
you
a new one to
stabilize?
Vicious.
Did you stabilize? I think it was Hadar inside of Frulam's room without using a like the healing property, but you stabilized him. No, I feel like somebody else stabilized him. Yeah, so the one probably has 6 uses left on it.
So yeah,
Every t-
vicious.
I
Oh,
thought I
sorry.
was doing that really well. Oh well, I was not.
well, the biggest thing that I keep track of is when you use it to do the main healing on someone, because that's only once per long rest. So I keep track of that. Most of the other stuff is just kind of back of my mind, but you should be keeping track of every time you do something with that healer's kit is one of its 10 uses. And that's part of why I made 2 available, was because in general, if you all don't have a healer's kit, you should definitely have multiples on the actual healer.
Yeah, so Vicious
Natural
has
healer would be
one
good.
fresh one, Tynus has the one, and Doc has the one with 6 uses left.
All right, so I'll go back to brand new. It's still got the Johnson and Johnson label on it.
Are you
Perfect.
looking to augurize traveling with dragon eggs?
Absolutely.
I think it's a lousy idea. These things are going to
Yeah,
hatch
now
and do
that we are
nothing.
absolutely ready to saddle up and go, I will go ahead and just, instead of ritual casting this time, we're going to just properly cast Augury using those dragon bones to ask Lathander if it is wise to travel with dragon eggs.
I think you will get a response of weal and woe.
Oh, good and bad. Interesting. All right. Then he will inform the party. Having made contact with Lathander, I am receiving an omen of good and evil if we continue to travel with these eggs.
Sounds about right. I could have told you the same thing without any spells.
Very well. But that does bring up the question, do we actually intend to travel with them? If they could bring us any woe, especially in relation to whom they're connected with, should we not consider getting rid of them at wholesale?
I think that you need to look into it a little deeper. Like perhaps it's one of those things that could be good, could be bad, depending on like the choices that you intend to make with them, sort of, so to speak. Or should they fall in the wrong hands versus be used for good and used for evil?
Fair enough. Well, for now, I guess we will continue on with our idea of bringing them to Laosin. Excuse me, I have to burp, but it's not coming out. Sorry. Okay, I'm better. Uh, yeah, we should continue along with the idea of bringing these to Laosin. Perhaps him and his order will have a better idea of what to do with these.
Is El Terrell like a pretty big city or town, like in relation, or what? What
Oh,
just
it's
like
it's a
would I know
capital
anything
city.
about it?
Yeah, El Terrell is the capital of the actual general realm of Eltradad, so it is probably the largest of the cities that you will see in this general area before going to something like Baldur's Gate.
Okay, great. So with my military background, I would know what we're getting into. And I don't know what everybody else's ration situation was looking like, um, but assuming we like stocked up on enough for ourselves as well, unless you guys are gonna eat horse feed.
Yummy, yummy. Hey.
We always have eggs.
Yeah, anything like that you can essentially retroactively purchase, as you all would have stopped off at the equipage place.
Yeah, they're only 5 gold. I'll handle that.
Sounds good. Sounds good. And you said it's about a 5 day travel.
I think they told you it was about 6 days. It's about 200 miles to the north via the roads, but you guys can take either the actual roads through Bear Dusk, Scornubel, and then El Terrell, or you can just head straight north across the plains. It is up to you all how you would like to travel.
I'm
Road is
assuming just
probably
with the
good.
wagon and the horses and everything, the best thing to do would be to stick to the roads.
Yeah, I think
Definitely, we should stick to the roads. Plus, we'll be passing through the town of Bear Dusk, and passing through towns is always a good idea.
Is there something in particular you want to accomplish in Bear Dusk?
General reconnaissance. Actually, Tinus already did this.
You can't hide stuff from me when you're trying to do this. Like when I'm asking you, is there something you want to accomplish? I'm asking like, what do I have to think up to answer your questions?
Oh yeah. Uh, this it's me trying to remember if you already told me this when I was making Tinus. Uh, yeah, just general checking up on the town since I do know those Laosin passed through here and all of that stuff. So, what's the state of the town when we pass through it in terms of their rebuilding after the dragon attack? And um,
I do
did
not
they
believe
have
Bear Dusk was attacked.
Bedusk wasn't yet? Because
Greenest and Erebor were the two that were
that's right,
attacked.
that's right. Ah, okay, cool. Well then, while we're passing through Bear Dusk, looking around for one, anyone wearing purple, and two, any information on particular particularly powerful magical items that might be stored here. Not like anything specific, like if they have health potions and general trinkets, like a powerful one. I guess
No, you would
wondrous or higher.
you would get nothing.
Cool, cool. That's just general I wanted to check up on. Then that's all.
These are plains people. They are farmers and like wheat growers. This entire realm feeds the rest of the Sword Coast. all of the green fields, like everything from Beargost to Bear Dusk, Greenest, Erebor, and Easting. They're all towns that they purely exist for growing food to feed the rest of the Sword Coast.
So there's nothing interesting about them, nothing that they would want us to do, no treasure, that kind of thing.
We probably have the most valuable treasure in the land right now.
Yeah, I doubt we want to go looking around for odd jobs while we're passing through here.
Good
Yeah,
point.
that's purely why I ask. You have to let me know what you want to do. If you want me to generate a side quest, we can take a break and I can certainly generate a random like side quest for you to do. But nope, these are just random towns on your way.
We have these
Hmm.
two gigantic oval object things, you know.
No, we're not showing those in plain sight. I assume we're at least covering them up.
What, we're riding a camel?
No,
We
you guys
we have a
purchased a
draft
cart.
horse with a wagon.
Oh, okay, it's in the wagon bed. All right, cool.
Yeah, definitely not letting anyone know that we have these. Like super, super discreet.
Of course, we're also not looking shady. Like we're like, oh no, no one look in our cart. Ugh. We're just passing through a town. It doesn't require any further thought. But yeah, as long as there's no stirrings of people in purple robes here, past it we go.
Yeah, so overall, you all have a pretty uneventful trip through these areas. There's a bunch of people who are in rather destitute situations, but overall, it seems to be a bunch of peasants. After a good few days of travel, you do eventually arrive inside of El Chirel. And as you approach from afar, you would very quickly start to notice that the city of El Chirel has a brilliant white star above the actual town itself, above the capital. And for what it is worth, this would not be terribly surprising to anyone but Vicious at this point, as everyone who has ever been to El Chirel would know that they are protected from undead by this brilliant blessing of Helm that sits over this city, and it is in perpetual light as the dawn shines down on the city itself. And as you all enter, it is a rather small but still nice and beautiful city. A lot of white marble and brilliant white sandstones make up most of the architectures. There is a lot of actual like columnation to the city. It is a very Greek kind of look in how things are produced. It's a rather warm, near desert climate, so a lot of their time is essentially like spent outside, and most of their buildings show that with open air construction. They're very much like designed around atriums and sort of somewhat like columnated, like open spaces inside of their homes. But after a while, you all are more or less in the center of the city. What would you like to do?
Certainly, starting off, we should find a place where we can set our horse for the time being, and rooms so that we can put some of our valuables away. Hint, hint.
Tinus, would you have any idea as to where we might find our allies?
Well, for certainly we could find Ontharfroom. Well, I assume you know better than I do, but as he is a member of the hold on, I do have this in my notes. Give me 1 second.
Order of the Gauntlet.
That's the one. Yeah. As he is a member of the Order of the Gauntlet, we should have no trouble finding him here in this city of El Terrell. This is where they are based. While I'm not fully familiar with the geography of the city, I imagine we could ask any person we come across where the Order of the Gauntlets sets itself, and we would go there to speak to Ontharr Froome, and he would easily lead us to Leosin, as they were planning to meet up here.
And I think that course of action should be our top priority. And from there, we can find a place to hang our heads and put away our valuables, so to speak. Now, would that be like a temple? Is that like a religious sect? Or what is that exactly? The Order of the Gauntlet?
Do a history check. Order of the Gauntlet is one of the larger kind of like intercity like sector groups around this area. They are essentially dedicated to the triumvirate of Helm. Oh god damn, I can't believe I forgot their names. Fuck.
Torm and Tyr?
Yeah. Helm, Torm, Tyr sounds wrong. But there's four different
Those
gods
names
who are a
sound
part
right.
of this like triumvirate of gods. But regardless, they are essentially like a group of paladins and clerics who all are more or less good aligned servants of good aligned deities who serve righteousness, protecting the downtrodden, and like honor in war. And the Order of the Gauntlet in particular is a group who serves righteousness across the land of the Sword Coast. As far as throwing back to you all and what you would know as players, you met Darren Edermath, the Keeper of the Orchard in Phandalin, was a member of the Order of the Gauntlet. And the way Lady Gariel was set up, she was essentially a member of the Order of the Gauntlet.
So yeah, I guess we would just find somebody in town or whatever and seek out where their like HQ would be.
They're just asking for the Order of the Gauntlet and where their headquarters might be.
Yeah, basically just so we can start maybe drop the names Leosin or
On Tharfrum.
Onthar.
When you ask about the order, people kind of point you towards the center of the city, where there is a kind of a hill overlooking the river Corianthar, and they kind of point you towards this large temple that overlooks the actual hill itself. And as you mention somebody like Leosin, people look at you confused, not really knowing who you're speaking of. But when you bring up on Froom, they actually like come across with a large smile and immediately become much more friendly and point you off towards that same direction. And they say, "If you're looking for Onthar Froom, you'll find him most certainly in the main temple there." But you all can head off towards that central area as you kind of climb higher into the city. And as you make your way through the city, you start to gain your first looks over the river Corianthar. And the temple itself is just a massive, almost like a few hundred feet long, and about 100 or 200 feet wide temple. Again, it has massive colonnades, but this one's actually like a dual colonnade. Where there's two sets of columns, both an outer row and then an inner row, on about a 10-foot high like base stonework. So you walk up the main stairs around the actual temple, and they surround at least the three sides that you are currently looking in. Like everything's surrounded by these stairs. They all lead up into the initial colonnade. And then inside of that, you see another row of columns in a reduced number, but essentially inset, so they are all in parallel with each other. And inside of that, it has large stone walls. They all lead up in like bas reliefs that then have a frieze of it depicts a battle of Helm, Torm, and I wish I could think of the other god who is the main part of this triumvirate, as they basically battle with Bane. Can't think of the other three gods who are their opposition, but it depicts the actual battles that would surround much of what has happened, and I believe that's part of the spell plague. But it is essentially like it's surrounded by these battles of these different deities, and it kind of tells the story in bas relief. As you enter inside, it is a massive temple in a very open space. It has a huge atrium that has a large pool in the center at about a half of the actual space. but there are more or less groups of people who are kind of standing around, lounging around, and generally just congregating in this area in conversation.
Yes, we wish to speak with Onthar Prum. Who can put us in contact with him or summon him?
Good day to you. If you are looking for Onthar, may I ask what your business is, and I can certainly fetch him for you.
Onthar is my mentor. Just tell him that the doctor is here and wishes to speak with him and carries precious cargo.
Right away, sir. And this person who's generally just seems to be a robed individual, wearing like white and a soft blue robe, um, like hands tucked into the opposite sleeves, walks off almost as if they are floating, with very little like movement as they step away. They kind of move off, and in time, a familiar face returns. It is a large individual, bald head, big bushy beard, almost like a reddish orange beard, and he seems to be almost as rotund as he is tall. And eventually, kind of walks up to you all. As he kind of gathers the sight of Doc, he will smile to see you again and will jovially greet you all. Welcome, welcome to Achurel. I believe we were waiting for you to rejoin us here. It's a pleasure to see you all.
The pleasure is all ours, brother. These are my allies, Vicious and Tynus. I
Tynus,
trust
it's a
them with my
pleasure to see
life.
you as well.
It's good to see you again, Onthar.
May I ask, before we go to a private area to speak, is there word from Leosin? Damn, I have my names written on two separate pages, so it's a pain in the ass to flip back and forth.
Leosin is indeed here in El Chirel. It is good to see you all have returned. He arrived just a few days ago. We actually have been speaking about very important matters.
We
Well,
hope to be able to add to that discussion.
yes, if there's somewhere very private that we can go, we'll need to speak with haste, preferably with you, but him as well, if he can be trusted with valuable information.
I assure you, Leosin can be trusted. No need to worry about him. If anything, they might consider us questionable in terms of trust. All right, and with that, I'm done messing around with Tynus's character sheet. He is all ready to go.
Everybody otherwise all set?
Oh yeah, I'm good whenever.
Yep.
So what would you all like to do with the dragon egg?
Let's just crush it now and be done with this.
Yeah, I think if as a group, I think that's probably what we decided is the best decision. Is that you want to do like eyes? Is everybody for that?
I am for it.
I would like that.
If we eat the dragon eggs, do we gain any dragon powers? Or do we just get nutrients?
Gives me no nutrients. You do in
Uh,
fact gain nutrients, you do not gain dragon powers.
and I think the eggs are a bit too far gone to be properly eaten unless we want to eat uh newborn dragon meat.
Hey, have you ever seen this or heard of this thing called balut? It's
First I'm hearing of it.
it's a
Oh, I have.
yeah, it's a Filipino delicacy where you eat the egg that's already got the developing chicken or duck or whatever inside it. And I've been in an Asian grocery store where I've seen it for sale. Like just it's I don't know how they realize that those eggs have stuff in them.
I saw it on Fear Factor. They eat them and they're like 95% developed. And it's like literally eating like a little chicken like days before it's born.
I can only imagine the meat isn't very good at that point.
Dude, it's so disgusting. Like watching someone eat them.
So, so yeah, unless we want to try some dragon dilute, I think we're just gonna crush these things and, be done with it. I guess we have to consider how we're gonna dispose of the newborn bodies.
Yes, Onathar. Is there a way that we can dispose of these, perhaps with fire?
A furnace would be perfect.
I don't believe there is any reason for us not to be able to procure such things.
Posted a picture.
I'm not looking at that. I don't want to see it.
You don't want to see it.
Yeah, don't even Google it.
I'm not going to. Well, if that's the case, then we will simply destroy these eggs now and it never has to leave this room.
I do believe you've made a wise decision there, and we can certainly keep this information from our potential allies from the forest.
And yeah, I mean, the only reason I don't think we want to just like stomp on the egg here unless they really can just take the things to a furnace and drop the bodies in. Is that what he's suggesting he can do? Otherwise, it'd be. Or should we wait to move these eggs to the room where the furnace is already in it?
It is up to you for what you want to ask for.
Well, would you rather we just crush these here and your order can move the, I assume, fetuses or partially developed dragon newborns to a disposable location? Or can we do this at said disposable location?
I think all we really need is a coat hanger and a pile of sticks.
I really like the furnace idea. Is there a furnace?
That's what I'm asking about. Is there a furnace, a fireplace, or a furnace in this room?
We do not have a tendency to need any sort of heating in our abodes, but we can certainly go to the Undertaker and use a crematorium for those purposes.
Great idea.
Let's be off then. The sooner we get this done, the sooner we can return to more important matters.
And not to distrust your employees or associates, but is there a way we could do this discreetly? I'd rather have as few people involved as possible.
That's a good point.
I think, considering the damage that the cult has been doing in these parts, I think most people would be better off mentally not to have to see and be reminded of such things. If it is all the same to you, we can go as our small group here and no one else need know. I should be able to command enough use that we can have the order of. I'm looking for names of gods. I should be able to order the priests of Kelenvor to ignite a furnace for us and leave us at that. I don't believe we need go into too much detail for their sake or for ours.
Perfect. That's exactly what I had in mind.
Yeah, well then, uh, just to be, just to get this out of the way, are we assuming like we just for the sake of brevity explained the whole situation with us having a cultist and getting information out of them thing? Did we do that like in terms of brevity, or should we bring that up in character?
That's kind of why I apologize that I said things that kind of assumed you all gave a little bit more information than you did, because of the dragon eggs are essentially something that completely throw things for a loop because you were discussing dragon eggs rather than actually passing information. But we can kind of progress forward. Essentially, after you all go through the process of cremating these eggs, Onthar would invite you back to the a pair of black antlers, a local pub for the Order of the Gauntlet, and kind of sit down to a keg of ale with you all, and take some time just to relax, talk in a semi-private room, but in a generally Order of the Gauntlet pub in El Chirel, and you guys can kind of pass information between yourselves from there.
Yeah, I don't think we got any information that I would particularly like want to withhold or anything like that as far as that's concerned.
Yeah, so you all kind of go into like a VIP space in this tavern, basically like in a back room, and you're like behind shut doors, but it has like kind of open windows that like overlook the rest of the actual pub itself. So while you are isolated, you're essentially like in the back of the pub and can see all of the other going ons that are happening inside of this space. So you have a pretty good view over things. It's kind of like midday, so there are a good number of people inside of the pub. Um, but like in general, nobody's like close to the actual walls before you. But like anytime like a servant is coming forward with like more ale or more like bread or like plates of meat, whatever that they might be serving for the group. Anytime someone's approaching, you have a pretty good view as they basically approach this area that you all are at the back of this pub. Um, but they kind of sit down, go over some more of the information, and kind of poke and prod you all for more of the information that you would have gathered. Um, so among those things, like part of what I was apologizing for was assuming that you had basically told Leosin that the cult had fled that area. That would be information that they would not have known about the last he was there. He asked you to investigate the cult, not specifically that he knew that the cult had run away. So that was one of those things that I kind of jumped the knowledge on, with the dragon eggs. I feel like there was one other thing, but overall, like, they still need that information now.
I believe I did have Tynus like say outright that the camp was abandoned. So when he mentioned like they had gotten the dragon eggs, when Doc mentioned they'd gotten the dragon eggs, Tynus chimed in with, "Yeah, we picked it up from the cave outside of the now abandoned camp." I think is how he said it.
Alright, word. So what sort of information might you all have been able to procure besides these, uh, most fortuitous creatures?
We had the opportunity to interrogate one of the cultists who was left behind at the camp. He was drunk off his ass and just sort of left behind in their, we assume was their treasure room based on the scattered coin that we found outside of it, and of course the barrel of ale that he was passed out in. After acquiring the eggs, we came back. I cast Zone of Truth, and we tried to get as much information out of him as possible. Uh, Most of it was, I don't think, particularly uh, mm, wasn't something we wouldn't have already have known from what you all told me on my way there. Uh, the reason that they are raiding these villages, the people they are capturing, according to him, are being used to feed the adult dragons that they have under them. And that is why they're keeping so many civilians alive. And of course, they're also looking for powerful magical items. I wasn't able to get a full confirmation, but based on how evasive he was speaking, I believe they might be looking for something specific.
Yes, it seemed like they were looking for artifacts in general, but perhaps there's something of power that's necessary to bring Tiamat back. When we asked of their direction or aims or future goals, all we were able to ascertain was that they were potentially moving to the north. I believe he said the north, always to the north, as if it was common knowledge.
They intend to attack the greater cities, of course.
I believe you might be giving greater weight to the power of such spells than are necessary. It's useful for people who are friendly to you to know that they speak the truth, but any who do not have the same aims as you can still bypass such things. It is not a foolproof method of holding a discussion.
This is true. He did drop some other little tidbits. The people in purple are apparently the ones in charge. I believe he mentioned the five. He said the five, yeah. He mentioned the five in purple.
I don't think I ever gave you a number of wares of purple.
You said the five. I remember that specifically.
Again, I don't think I did, and I would not have meant to. The only reference to five that you would have should be just the heads of Tiamat at this point.
Hmm. Well, I remember you saying that there were the
All right,
five, but
my point
we'll be able
is,
to go back on it.
it's a moot point, and it doesn't matter. That
Fair
guy
enough.
was not a trustworthy source of information. Everything that he gave you was either dodging a lie or lying before the zone of truth.
Oh. What about
I
the name he dropped?
I don't believe that you would have a cultist left behind who is anything but the most devout of servants of Tiamat. That perhaps the best sources would be somebody who is a new convert who would be capable of being turned, though it is hard to figure out who those people would ever be. Perhaps somebody who has been turned most recently would be the best, or has ulterior motives themselves.
Hmm. We'll definitely have to keep that in mind when we continue to gather this information going forward.
Yes, I'm
He also
inclined to agree. He was very devout and remained loyal to Tiamat until the very end.
definitely seemed rather willing to die before he told us anything of any importance. He did say a certain name, though, and out of character, I don't remember what that name was. What was it?
Rulam Manda.
That's the one. He did drop the name Frulam Mandas. Do you have any knowledge of that person in particular?
Rulam was the person who led the attack on Greenest. They were among those who seemed to be working below Resmir, but I do not believe even Frulam is among the higher status wearers of purple. They are perhaps a lower tier of those who would rule. She seemed to be trying to gain respect at great danger to herself.
And who is Resmir?
He is among the higher order of this cult. I fear once Resmir saw me, that might be why they fled their hold in that area. Perhaps Resmir suspects too much of my presence. I might have been betrayed. It is hard to say, but Resmir is one of the wearers of purple.
Hmm.
And again, me saying five, if I said five, would have been a failure because, as far as I'm concerned, wearers of purple is a status that certain cultists arise to. It is not a particular number. Because as far as I've seen reading through this entire campaign, there are more than five wares in purple. So if it was said at some point, it should definitely be retconned out of your memory because there will be. I think there is approximately 10 different people who have that status in the cult, who are essentially, it's like a field general almost. It's
Fair enough.
someone
I'll
who
forget.
has a high command over the cult. And as far as I'm concerned, both Landerosa and Frulam and Resmir are all wearers in purple, but they are not the three highest, or even among the three highest.
Fair enough. I remember you saying it, so I was like, that's got to be important. That's why I latched so hard onto it. But if it's not important, I'll take it out of my mind.
Did we share that Lenderosa was able to escape? I can't remember.
We did tell them that.
Lenderosa's escape is fraught with danger, especially that you would be well known to the cult, as they seem to flee to the north. We've come across at least a little bit of information that is their plan. They will be heading to the north in wagon caravans, apparently taking their slaves and their fuck, I can't think of the word for treasure, and treasures to the north. It's hard to say that they would be feeding these people to dragons, though. We already have contacts who have confirmed that they seem to be moving great numbers of people through to the north along the coastway. But that's not to say that they are not sacrificing them somehow.
Yes, I don't know what it takes to bring back the mighty Tiamat to this plane, but perhaps some sort of sacrificial ritual or something like that. But I imagine that they're either using these slaves to bolster their numbers, feed the dragons, or for some other dark ritual.
I would venture to say it is more likely that they intend to feed Tiamat all of these wonders that they collect from these towns as they ravage the Sword Coast.
Tiamat can eat magic.
So, what would you all like to do with the dragon egg?
Let's just crush it now and be done with this.
Yeah, I think if uh as a group, I think that's probably what we decided is the best decision. Is that you want to do like eyes? Is everybody for that?
I am for it.
I would like that.
If we eat the dragon eggs, do we gain any dragon powers? Or do we just get nutrients?
Gives me no nutrients. You do in
Uh,
fact gain nutrients, you do not gain dragon powers.
and I think the eggs are a bit too far gone to be properly eaten unless we want to eat uh newborn dragon meat.
Hey, have you ever seen this or heard of this thing called balut? It's
First I'm hearing of it.
it's a
Oh, I have.
yeah, it's a Filipino delicacy where you eat the egg that's already got the developing chicken or duck or whatever inside it. And I've been in an Asian grocery store where I've seen it for sale. Like just it's I don't know how they realize that those eggs have stuff in them.
I saw it on Fear Factor. They eat them and they're like 95% developed. And it's like literally eating like a little chicken like days before it's born.
Can only imagine the meat isn't very good at that point.
Dude, it's so disgusting. Like watching someone eat them.
So so yeah, unless we want to try some dragon dilute, I think we're just gonna crush these things and, be done with it. I guess we have to consider how we're gonna dispose of the newborn bodies.
Yes, Onathal, is there a way that we can dispose of these, perhaps with fire?
A furnace would be perfect.
I don't believe there is any reason for us not to be able to procure such things.
Posted a picture.
I'm not looking at that. I don't want to see it.
You don't want to see it.
Yeah, don't even Google it.
I'm not going to. Well, if that's the case, then we will simply destroy these eggs now and it never has to leave this room.
I do believe you've made a wise decision there, and we can certainly keep this information from our potential allies from the forest.
And yeah, I mean, The only reason I don't think we want to just like stomp on the egg here unless they really can just take the things to a furnace and drop the bodies in. Is that what he's suggesting he can do? Otherwise, it'd be, or should we wait to move these eggs to the room where the furnace is already in it?
It is up to you for what you want to ask for.
Well, would you rather we just crush these here and your order can move the, I assume, fetuses or partially developed dragon newborns to a disposable location? Or can we do this at said disposable location?
I think all we really need is a coat hanger and a pile of sticks.
I really like the furnace idea. Is there a furnace?
That's what I'm asking about. Is there a furnace, a fireplace, or a furnace in this room?
We do not have a tendency to need any sort of heating in our abodes, but we can certainly go to the Undertaker and use a crematorium for those purposes.
Great idea.
Let's be off then. The sooner we get this done, the sooner we can return to more important matters.
And not to distrust your employees or associates, but is there a way we could do this discreetly? I'd rather have as few people involved as possible.
That's a good point.
I think, considering the damage that the cult has been doing in these parts, I think most people would be better off mentally not to have to see and be reminded of such things. If it is all the same to you, we can go as our small group here and no one else need know. I should be able to command enough use that we can have the order of... I'm looking for names of gods. I should be able to order the priests of Kelenvor to ignite a furnace for us and leave us at that. I don't believe we need go into too much detail for their sake or for ours.
Perfect. That's exactly what I had in mind.
Yeah, well then, uh, just to be, just to get this out of the way, are we assuming like we just for the sake of brevity explained the whole situation with us having a cultist and getting information out of them thing? Did we do that like in terms of brevity, or should we bring that up in character?
That's kind of why I apologize that I said things that kind of assumed you all gave a little bit more information than you did, because of the dragon eggs are essentially something that completely throw things for a loop, because you were discussing dragon eggs rather than actually passing information. But we can kind of progress forward. Essentially, after you all go through the process of cremating these eggs, Onthar would invite you back to the a pair of black antlers, a local pub for the Order of the Gauntlet, and kind of sit down to a keg of ale with you all, and take some time just to relax, talk in a semi-private room, but in a generally Order of the Gauntlet pub in El Chirel, and you guys can kind of pass information between yourselves from there.
Yeah, I don't think we got any information that I would particularly like want to withhold or anything like that as far as that's concerned.
Yeah, so you all kind of go into like a VIP space in this tavern, basically like in a back room, and you're like behind shut doors, but it has like kind of open windows that like overlook the rest of the actual pub itself. So while you are isolated, you're essentially like in the back of the pub and can see all of the other going ons that are happening inside of this space. So you have a pretty good view over things. It's kind of like midday, so there are a good number of people inside of the pub. Um, but like in general, nobody's like close to the actual walls before you. But like anytime like a servant is coming forward with like more ale or more like bread or like plates of meat, whatever that they might be serving for the group. Anytime someone's approaching, you have a pretty good view as they basically approach this area that you all are at the back of this pub. Um, but they kind of sit down, go over some more of the information, and kind of poke and prod you all for more of the information that you would have gathered. Um, so among those things, like part of what I was apologizing for was assuming that you had basically told Leosin that the cult had fled that area. That would be information that they would not have known about the last he was there. He asked you to investigate the cult, not specifically that he knew that the cult had run away. So that was one of those things that I kind of jumped the knowledge on with the dragon eggs. I feel like there was one other thing, but overall, like, they still need that information now.
I believe I did have Tynus like say outright that the camp was abandoned. So when he mentioned like they had gotten the dragon eggs, when Doc mentioned they'd gotten the dragon eggs, Tynus chimed in with, "Yeah, we picked it up from the cave outside of the now abandoned camp." I think is how he said it.
All right, word. So what sort of information might you all have been able to procure besides these, uh, most fortuitous creatures?
We had the opportunity to interrogate one of the cultists who was left behind at the camp. He was drunk off his ass and just sort of left behind in their, we assume was their treasure room based on the scattered coin that we found outside of it, and of course the barrel of ale that he was passed out in. After acquiring the eggs, we came back. I cast Zone of Truth, and we tried to get as much information out of him as possible. Uh, Most of it was, I don't think, particularly uh, mm, wasn't something we wouldn't have already have known from what you all told me on my way there. Uh, the reason that they are raiding these villages, the people they are capturing, according to him, are being used to feed the adult dragons that they have under them. And that is why they're keeping so many civilians alive. And of course, they're also looking for powerful magical items. I wasn't able to get a full confirmation, but based on how evasive he was speaking, I believe they might be looking for something specific.
Yes, it seemed like they were looking for artifacts in general, but perhaps there's something of power that's necessary to bring Tiamat back. When we asked of their direction or aims or future goals, all we were able to ascertain was that they were potentially moving to the north. I believe he said the north, always to the north, as if it was common knowledge.
They intend to attack the greater cities, of course.
I believe you might be giving greater weight to the power of such spells than are necessary. It's useful for people who are friendly to you to know that they speak the truth, but any who do not have the same aims as you can still bypass such things. It is not a foolproof method of holding a discussion.
This is true. They did. He did drop some other little tidbits. The people in purple are apparently the ones in charge. I believe he mentioned the five. He said the five. Yeah. He mentioned the five in purple.
I don't think I ever gave you a number of wares of purple.
You said the five. I remember that specifically.
Again, I don't think I did, and I would not have meant to. The only reference to five that you would have should be just the heads of Tiamat at this point.
Mm. Well, I remember you saying that there were the
All right,
five, but
my
we'll
point
we'll be able
is,
to
is
go
it's
back
it's
on it.
it's a moot point, and it doesn't matter. That
Fair
guy
enough.
was not a trustworthy source of information. Everything that he gave you was either dodging a lie or lying before the zone of truth.
Oh, what
Uh,
about the
I
name he dropped?
I don't believe that you would have a cultist left behind who is anything but the most devout of servants of Tiamat, that perhaps the best sources would be somebody who is a new convert who would be capable of being turned, though it is hard to figure out who those people would ever be. Perhaps somebody who has been turned most recently would be the best, or has ulterior motives themselves.
We'll definitely have to keep that in mind when we continue to gather this information going forward.
Yes, I'm
He also
inclined to agree. He was very devout and remained loyal to Tiamat until the very end.
definitely seemed rather willing to die before he told us anything of any importance. He did say a certain name, though, and out of character, I don't remember what that name was. What was it?
Rulam Manda.
That's the one. He did drop the name Frulam Mandas. Do you have any knowledge of that person in particular?
Rulam was the person who led the attack on Greenest. They were among those who seemed to be working below Resmir, but I do not believe even Frulam is among the higher status wearers of purple. They are perhaps a lower tier of those who would rule. She seemed to be trying to gain respect at great danger to herself.
And who is Resmir?
He is among the higher order of this cult. I fear once Resmir saw me, that might be why they fled their hold in that area. Perhaps Resmir suspects too much of my presence. I might have been betrayed. It is hard to say, but Resmir is one of the wearers of purple.
Hmm.
And again, me saying five, if I said five, would have been a failure because, as far as I'm concerned, wearers of purple is a status that certain cultists arise to. It is not a particular number, because as far as I've seen reading through this entire campaign, there are more than five wares in purple. So if it was said at some point, it should definitely be retconned out of your memory, because there will be, I think there is approximately 10 different people who have that status in the cult, who are essentially, it's like a field general almost. It's
Fair enough.
someone
I'll
who
forget.
has a high command over the cult. And as far as I'm concerned, both Landarosa and Frulam and Resmir are all wearers in purple, but they are not the three highest, or even among the three highest.
Fair enough. I remember you saying it, so I was like, that's got to be important. That's why I latched so hard onto it. But if it's not important, I'll take it out of my mind.
Did we share that Lenderosa was able to escape? I can't remember.
We did tell him that.
Landarosa's escape is fraught with danger, especially that you would be well known to the cult, as they seem to flee to the north. We've come across at least a little bit of information that that is their plan. They will be heading to the north in wagon caravans, apparently taking their slaves and their... Fuck, I can't think of the word for treasures. Treasure. And treasures to the north. Hard to say that they would be feeding these people to dragons, though. We already have contacts who have confirmed that they seem to be moving great numbers of people through to the north along the coastway. But that's not to say that they are not sacrificing them somehow.
Yes, I don't know what it takes to bring back the mighty Tiamat to this plane, but perhaps some sort of sacrificial ritual or something like that. But I imagine that they're either using these slaves to bolster their numbers, feed the dragons, or for some other dark ritual?
I would venture to say it is more likely that they intend to feed Tiamat all of these wonders that they collect from these towns as they ravage the Sword Coast.
Tiamat can eat magic.
I believe you are focused on the wrong aspect of such things. Dragons have always collected gold and powerful items. They don't necessarily need to eat it, and perhaps it is Tiamat who will all of those who they bring in sacrifice to her.
I see.
Do you know anything more of like what is necessary to bring Tiamat to this plane of existence or allow her passage? Anything of the ritual of what's necessary or what they are looking for in specific?
We have only recently become aware of their interest in living dragons and bringing Tiamat from the Nine Hells. It's hard to say what sorts of magics would open such a gate. Perhaps they have powerful enough wizards who might be able to do such things. But for now, I believe perhaps the Emerald Enclave might know more, and their abilities might be able to shed light on what we need to do. Troubling to know that the cult will head ever further to the north. Would seem that that is a curse on those who would dwell in such regions, and that is among the strongest and oldest of the forests in this area. But I think it would be best for us to attempt some way of tracking their efforts to head out of this land if they intend to leave the green fields. Perhaps they feel they have sacked what they are able to, and we'll go at that. Perhaps there will be more skirmishes in this area, but we know at least that if they are heading to the north, they are doing so by wagon loads of goods. They will likely have to pass through Baldur's Gate, and from there they will have to pass through Water's Deep. There are many traders who go these ways. It will be easy enough to pose as merchants, as guards, and to make those same paths. Perhaps you would be willing to track their goings?
Hmm, certainly we could. In fact, I think we should. If we are able to keep track of where they're going, we may even be able to warn the towns along their path.
No, no, no. You misunderstand. You should not give up any more information about yourselves. You need to try to blend in as if you knew nothing. If you give away your person, you are likely to not wake up one day.
I suppose that's true. If they can travel in undetected up the most common tradeways, then they wouldn't have any trouble getting into Ane where we happen to rest. All right, well, we'll just have to keep a much lower cover going forward. So,
Yes, we are likely marked men and women. He'll look up at Vicious and say, and one more time, let this be the final that we speak of it. There should be no more knowledge or word about the ones that were destroyed. We should not even risk the possibility of sharing this information, that it could come back to haunt us in the future.
Very well.
Just one
almost
more
there.
time, reiterating that we should not mention ever again the dragon eggs and the destruction of them, because I think that that could risk compromising like the treaty.
Of course. As we said, it never leaves that room, and we are out of that room. So if we're going to be traveling along the tradeways, hoping to blend into the merchants and travelers, is there any merchant who is going to be leaving El Terrell that we may travel with?
I should be able to organize a boat to leave along Tianthar River and escort you all into Baldur's Gate. I have a friend who might be able to get you close enough with some of the merchants who would be heading north from there. Baldur's Gate has a interesting monopoly on how they work through the trade routes. It would serve little purpose to join a merchant at this point, but if you make your way with haste, you may be able to rejoin one of the larger followings of the cult, but if their numbers are anything to speak of it, they likely have a much larger train scattered across the entire land than any of us would be comfortable to know. I think it would be safe to say that you should assume everybody that you meet is, in fact, a cultist who follows Tiamat as their lord.
We'll have to be a lot more secretive then. Very well. We should just proceed on with this plan then. To Baldur's Gate is where we are headed. I don't believe we have any more information we could offer you. Um, but I did want to know, do we have any idea as to where they might be? If we know they're going north, is there any idea as to where they might be going to set up this ritual? I assume a ritual of this magnitude can't simply be done in any sort of traveling capacity. They must have a base. Do we know of one?
That's the very reason that you are supposed to track them and infiltrate them, to find out such things, to gather any information that you might have as to their plans, as they seem to scatter to the four winds.
Infiltrate. Are you suggesting we try to become a part of this, or I suppose double agents of the cult?
I dare say if you have already crossed Landrosa twice, I do not believe you will have that opportunity a third time. It will behoove you to do what you can to be unnoticed by them, and to try to gain what confidence that you might. But in the long run, I would suggest your safety is more important than trying to join them. I would not suggest getting captured by them.
If the stories this group has told me is true, our friend Leosin already tried that angle.
If we discover something, who should we report it to?
Well, I believe that is the next cause for where we should go here. I believe it would behoove you all to swear the oaths of our orders and join us in either the Order of the Gauntlet or perhaps the Harpers, if you will. I know you have lived a far more chaotic life than what even the Harpers wish of you, Lady Vicious, but perhaps you would join the Order and live a spy's life for the good of the Sword Coast to repay the debt that you once felt from my hand.
Of course.
So Leosin will hand Vicious a small pendant um, made of silver that has a harp with a crescent moon, kind of like embracing the harp. Like the harp is like in the center of this crescent moon, like that kind of reaches around it, like almost like half encompassing it. And that's just the general symbol of the Order of the Harpers. But with that, goes through like a little ritual asking you to swear essentially to defend like the weak, people who would be done injustice, and in general just kind of going through a little short process of joining the Harpers, at least in name and symbol at present. And as you go on, perhaps learning more about what it means to be a Harper. And would you two be interested in joining the Order of the Gauntlets to serve the needs of Helm and Torm and the people of this world? Would you serve at your detriment to fight for those who are weak, to live with honor?
I'm afraid I am already sworn to a deity, and to break that oath would be far greater a price than I'm willing to pay for anything. But I appreciate the offer.
I'm not opposed to this. Tell you the truth, I trust Onathar's judgment. He was my mentor, and I know he serves the Order of the Gauntlet, and seems like your intentions are for good and in line with mine. So, as long as none of my decisions are going to compromise it, I don't see any reason not to.
I have no conflict, and I'm rather looking forward to getting on a boat.
We're not so frivolous as the Harpers are in what they consider in joining their orders, but perhaps you would find what we have to offer is appealing. What we do require is perhaps a little bit more discipline than a vagabond might be traditionally used to. But you don't seem to lack the air of someone who at least used to live with discipline in their life.
Yes, I spent much time in service of the military, so I'm used to being told what to do, even if it's not always in line with my own personal views. But the truth is, as long as I can indulge in some drinks and fornication along the way, I've little to guide me there. I'd rather do good in this world before I leave it. And out of curiosity, as we are new to the city and whatnot, we are in need of a couple things. Perhaps you could point us in the right direction to acquire some diamonds, and also perhaps you have some contacts for some. I know these lands have been ravaged for the magic items, but potential for some upgraded equipment for us as well that we might be a little more proficient in our killing.
I need to walk away for a second.
So after a moment, Onthar would essentially ask you to swear an oath to the Order of the Gauntlet if you would like to join them. And uh, then Leosin would offer Highness into joining the Harpers.
Yeah, I'll do an oath. I don't care.
My allegiance is to Lothander above any order. Is that something the Harpers could accommodate?
I feel like you might misunderstand what all of us ask. I believe both of our orders would easily serve the needs of Lathander, would require little from you that might offend such a deity. But of all things, the Harpers are much more outwardly wandering heroes than not, and I believe you would be well understanding of what it is that we accomplish in this world, having little to do with our own personal beliefs, and much more to do with the mundane happenings of the people of this.
Well, so be it. I would gladly join your order.
So yeah, they would both kind of present pretty similar things. The actual symbol for the Order of the Gauntlet is a right-handed gauntlet holding a long sword. And it's essentially in the same idea. It's a small pendant hung around a necklace that you can essentially hide beneath your tunic, as well as presenting another one of the actual Harper's symbols. And they would basically each advise you in different ways to keep such things, generally speaking, hidden, and then giving you different ways to essentially recognize other folk of those similar groups. As far as things go for Doc, most of the time, members of the Order of the Gauntlet are essentially paladins and clerics, but at times you will see other um, people of a little bit more disciplined background operating inside of those things, those orders. They will offer you all essentially what resources that they have inside of HRL to go out and search for anything that the group might need at this point. Whether you need to procure any fresh clothing, repair any weapons, try to acquire any weapons. If you have particular magic items that you want them to try to find for you, they can certainly try to. But overall, this is certainly an opportunity for you all to try to uh, re-equip and upgrade your things in a larger city. They do take the time for you all. They kind of present to you that while you could certainly take horses along the Chiantar River, you will almost certainly be required to sell everything before you go into Baldur's Gate. Part of their monopoly is that they don't let horses into the city, and there are no roads that bypass the city. So they basically have their monopoly, and that anybody that comes from the south has to sell at the south gate. You have hire porters to carry everything through the steep streets of the city, and then they re-buy new carts and horses on the north end. So they basically offer you, you can take your horses if you would like, but you will essentially have to sell them at Baldur's Gate. So they want to offer you now whether you want to take the horses, whether you want to sell those horses, sell the wagon, and sell the draft horse. Um, but yeah, those are some decisions for you all at moment to think about what you would like, what sort of magic items you want to try to request for them to look for you, and see in general what you might be able to procure in El Chirel.
Yeah, I would
Oh,
think sell
nice.
off all that stuff. I know Vicious had mentioned a what is it, Ring of Protection or whatever, the
Yeah.
plus one. Is that the one, Jared? The armor, plus one armor and plus
Yeah, it's
one
plus one
proficiency
AC.
or something. And then is Boulder's Gate close enough that we don't need horses to get there, or would we still need like to keep our riding horses and then sell them when we get there?
Onthar has offered you all a boat that you can take the boat down the Chiantar River.
Okay, I see it on the map now. That's the like line that's going basically from El Terrell, like west to Boulder's Gate.
Yeah, El Terrell basically is built on this river. The actual temple of the Order of the Gauntlet is overlooking like the cliff above the river, and is essentially it's essentially the Acropolis overlooking the actual river of Chiantar. So that large temple is where you would have met and seen the first kind of signs of this large. Pretty clearly, it's a large enough like water passageway between Scornubel and Baldur's Gate there. Um, but in the process of everything, you all would get another 150 gold for helping out Leosin, and then for accepting the quest to track down and follow the cultists. Onthar will pay you all another 50 gold for your costs up into Baldur's Gate. And if you can get yourselves hired by one of the merchants, they will start paying your way from there. But you can all add 200 gold to your inventory at present.
Sweet.
And then again, yeah, they can acquire fresh clothing for you. They can repair any armor, any weapons. They can try to acquire new items for you. I will calculate, let's see, what you can kind of sell these animals, the beasts of burden for. Yeah, so you can add another 175 to the group. Um, as they kind of give you some money for some of the horses. Leosin's going to keep one of the actual or two of the riding horses. And then they will get rid of the draft horse and the cart for you all, but they give you 175 gold for those at present.
Yeah, I'm updating the party loot list. So we are now at 1,591 gold pieces.
So much money.
What else are you all looking to try to acquire while you are in El Chirao?
I'd like to get in terms of a magical item, like a +1 light crossbow. And I think that's it for now. Or yeah.
I would definitely say the diamonds are definitely at the top of the list, and then I will have to look at the magic items because I didn't really have anything like specifically in mind. I'm not sure if I would want to upgrade my armor or what.
Is there a magic item shop we go to and we're like, hey, we have $1,000. What can you give us?
I'm sure you could find a merchant who would take all of your gold.
Yeah, that I think we should definitely just ask. Let's see. I don't think there's anything else. Hmm. No, I don't want that. Yeah. Just for me, Tinus would want a I want Tinus to have a crossbow, +1 light crossbow. He doesn't have the ability to wield a heavy crossbow, unfortunately. So,
Does a heavy crossbow take longer to prime?
no, it just weighs more, and he just can't use it because it's a martial weapon, and he only has proficiency in light weapons.
I believe both a light crossbow and a heavy crossbow take a turn to load, or you can only fire one shot per turn.
Mm-hmm.
All right, in that case, then I want to switch out to a heavy crossbow. I thought the heavies took longer. That might be Pathfinder, I'm not sure.
Oh, Vicious, I still have an extra heavy crossbow that I don't use, so you can have it if you want it.
You're just walking around with this extra gun type thing. That's great. Sure, I would very, very much appreciate that. This one is a little bit flimsy for my needs.
Oh, great. That's 18 less pounds I'll have to worry about. So I'm going to take that off and give it to you.
All right, thank you. So I can sell the light crossbow. Would you like this in return?
Oh, no, we can just get rid of it and throw it in the pot of loot.
You want me to add it to the party loot? Just light crossbow?
I don't know that we can just wander around carrying an extra thing. Like the money, I understand.
Yeah, I would say just count it like for whatever it is, whatever we get. What is it, half of the value or whatever to just sell it?
Don't sell it.
Yeah, so you can get 13 gold for the light crossbow.
Let me look what else I've managed to pick up that I don't need. I have a long sword also. It's probably not worth much that I would get rid of.
We're
At
at
5 gold.
All right. That puts us at 1,537.
Wait, so did you take the light crossbow money, or am I supposed to add it to
I
mine?
did that. I'm doing all the loot list stuff since we're handling it right now. So
Okay,
that's
cool.
already been factored in. We currently have 8 copper pieces and 1,537 gold pieces, and then no other coin on us.
Well, I'm holding 8 gold and 19 copper. Do you want that?
I mean, no, not particularly. I just thought it was funny that we have a very high currency and then a very low currency and nothing in the middle. Do you guys want to convert these gold pieces to platinum pieces?
Yeah, because that'll spend well at the little villages along the way.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't
probably for
think
the
we've
best we
ever
keep it
made.
gold.
I don't think we've ever made an issue of like changing between the currency or anything.
Yeah, we haven't. I was just wondering. Let's see. And we want to buy the diamonds.
All right, I
Should
just
we
pulled up
just
the list.
do that in terms of? Should we just do that in terms of like record keeping, or do we have to like do that as a thing? We didn't have to like in Waterdeep. We just could have said we bought more diamonds, and I subtracted the gold pieces. Can we do
You
that
guys are
here?
not in Waterdeep, though.
Fair enough.
Well, no,
Waterdeep is,
in
again, the biggest city in this entire continent.
in Alterel, like, would we need to basically like make a roll or whatever to try to acquire? I think we said we wanted another 480. Is that right?
Yes, because we currently have 120, so we need 480 to make 2 uses of what you call it, revivify.
So you realize
What?
diamonds that are 10 gold pieces each. That's like when you go to Walmart and you get an engagement ring.
It's true, but hey, I mean, it's for a spell, not really for anything fancy.
You don't have to tell her that's where
Before
you
we
got it
go,
from. You're just like, hey, baby, I really love you.
before we go too crazy spending money, I know obviously diamonds are a top priority. Uh, roughly, what do like magic items cost? Are they like 1,000 gold or 500 gold or?
So the crossbow, if you're able to find it, will be roughly around 500 gold. The ring of protection, if you're able to find it, will be somewhere. Well, so it's somewhere around 100 to 500 gold for a light crossbow of +1. It is somewhere around 500 to 5,000 gold for a ring of protection. And it is somewhere. Yeah, those are the three, or the two that you're looking. I feel
Cool.
like when I gave you all those rings of protection, I gave them to you all way too cheaply for what they actually are.
I think I got mine for 1,000 with Goderic.
Yeah, bonus to AC is, whew.
Yeah, I don't think I noticed that they were rare when I sold those to you all at that time.
What about gauntlets of ogre strength? What would they cost? I really do need to just like look through the book though and take a little time and get an idea of what would be good.
Is there like a list of magical items anywhere? I mean, I know the typical +1s. Pretty much every weapon has a +1 magical item version, and I think it's the same with every armor, and then of course shields. But I don't think there's like an exhaustive list of like,
The
oh
DMG
yeah,
is the
all of the
magic
magical.
items. Gauntlets of Ogre Power are the uncommon, so they're about 100 to 500 gold.
Hey, that's not bad.
Really good. Is there a minimum strength requirement for those?
No, no, not at all.
Okay, okay. They just boost you up to 19, like as long as you're under 19. Yeah, those might be what I would go for. If possible, like I know we're probably getting near like the wrap up point somewhere here.
Yeah, essentially
Would I be
everything's
able
done
to
at this
look
point.
at would I be able to look at that list like over our break between next week and then kind of get back to you with what I would like?
Yeah, I don't see a reason that we have to go on too much further from here. If you all are fine waiting until next week, we can most certainly do that, and that's fine, because otherwise, you guys aren't getting access to these things. I am going to come up with a percentile for you to roll, and then that's going to both determine whether you can find it available, as well as, like, how expensive it is along that range of those items. And that's again one of the things is finding stuff in water deep is the easiest, and it is also usually the cheapest because they actually have competitors. Versus a place like this is still kind of out in the boondocks. It just so happens to be a capital city of an actual realm.
You think would it be better for us to wait until we're in Baldur's Gate to try this search? That way we might have, more competitive prices.
I'm going to throw it out there. It's better for you all to search for stuff as often as you can. And it would be risky to pass stuff by if you ever have the opportunity to buy them.
Gotcha, gotcha.
Yeah, that seems like a good idea. If we can try to get the goods now while we have good connections and somebody trying to search, I think that's a good idea. And if the prices aren't good, potentially like pass it up if we have to. But yeah, that sounds pretty good.
So, what is the highest priority for you all? The diamonds?
Diamonds are definitely highest priority.
Yeah.
So, let's start with that one. You can give me a D100 roll as you all kind of take a little bit of time to search for diamonds. All right, so you are able to find You all are able to find 400 gold worth of diamonds as you go throughout the city.
All
So
right.
Oh,
I would say just buy all 400 and not worry about the whatever we needed 380. I would say just get all 400 and have the extra 20 worth.
yeah,
Makes
I agree.
sense.
Yeah, so as far as that was set up, I had it as a 20 plus. You could find around 180. And then I just rolled like d12s to figure out how many it was. And then a 65 plus that you were in that 300 range. And then it was 5d12 times 10 to determine how many you were able to find. But you essentially were able to find approximately 40 10 gold diamonds.
All right. I'm gonna drop that on Tannis's character sheet.
Oh yeah, that's like 2 extra weeks. Jan gets to play with his character now.
Well, one for now. We still have to pick up a couple more.
Well, no, we had 120 and we just got 400. Oh wait, we needed 6. That's right.
Hey, he managed not to die this week.
Because he wasn't here.
All right, so what else would you like to go looking after next? Do you want to go after the light crossbow, go after the ring of protection?
Yeah, I think Jamie definitely said the ring of protection. I mean, is that what you're thinking for your top priority, Jamie?
Yeah, I just figured we had to like go locate one in a dungeon somewhere.
Out of curiosity, what is your strength right now?
Strength is 16, and my AC is a 15.
And what about like a +1 bracers as opposed to like the ring? Would that like be cheaper or is that around the same thing anyway?
Did I cut out?
Oh, I have to research all of this stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I just wasn't sure if you were still there.
I'm used to us blabbering on about like nonsense. So whenever we're all quiet, it's like, wait, did I cut out? Speaking of, I to check if I cut out, I went into the Discord and I saw those things,
Yep.
and yeah, that makes me sick.
Sorry, possibly I shouldn't have posted it, but you should learn something every day.
There's certain things I don't want to learn, like I love learning, but like,
The bracers of defense are likely going to cost a similar amount, and they are probably rarer to find because they are wondrous.
Oh, right. Well, I think the ring's probably the way to go then, because doesn't it give you an extra bonus? It gives you like +1 AC and +1 to hit.
Saving throw.
Oh yeah, that's definitely better than.
no wonder that's so expensive. Jeez, that's really good.
So if you'd like to try to find out how much one might cost in El Churel, you can roll a D100 for me, Jamie.
Good luck, Jamie. Roll 100.
I can tell you what the chart is that I built while you contemplate it. 0 to 25 is none. 26 to 39 is 5,000. 40 to 65 is 4,000. 65 to 75 is 3,000. 75 to 85 is 2,000. 85 to 95 is 1,000. And 96 plus is 500. So you are able to find one. They are asking for 4,000 gold.
Yeah,
That's out of our budget.
well, we should find something to kill that will have one handily upon it.
Well, uh,
Might have to just try that one again in Boulder's Gate or something.
or if we ever find ourselves in Waterdeep. But I'll definitely make a roll for the crossbow then.
All right, you can roll a D100. They do not have a +1.
Ah, well, another time then.
You can get a rubber band gun that looks like a crossbow.
Ooh, fun.
Those things can hurt.
Those things are very painful. Be better than my current unarmed strike, which is 0.
Should never be attacking with weapons as a cleric. You have cantrips.
Yeah, that was funny. I've never seen a roll of 0 before, but I genuinely enjoyed seeing it. Even roll 20 didn't seem to know what to do with it. The font was all weird looking.
When you say that, is that applicable to like a crossbow as well, or were you saying for melee weapons?
I mean, I don't think he
Well,
should have
me for the
gone for
roll
a
of 0?
crossbow regardless, because his cantrips are more powerful than any weapon is going to give him damage-wise.
I'd
Cantrips
have
are
to do
like
some research
equal
to
to a
see.
weapon levels 1 through 4. But once you hit level 5, his cantrips are better.
That
Especially
is true.
something
My
that's been
cantrips will do more
damaged and you
damage.
use um damn, I
Toll the
can't
Dead.
fucking,
Toll the
yeah,
Dead.
Toll the
Yeah.
Dead. That's 2d12 if it's damaged, 2d8 if it's undamaged. Cantrips are not weak by any sense of the word. It's silly how many people look down on cantrips like they're a shit show, because they're still fucking powerful, even level 1 through 4.
It's true. Like, I'm
The
definitely not downplaying my
difference
cantrips,
why
but
it's viable is that it is nice to have an attack roll versus having something that you are forcing something to take a save, and especially if you've now given up um the fire one, which is hilarious for a priest of Lathander to not have Lathander's light. Um, but if you give that up, you can't test different saving throws versus you now probably have only Toll the Dead. And it's just
oh
one
no,
of those
I've got
things
Word of
where,
Radiance too, and I still have I have
yeah, Word of
something
Radiance
that'll
is only
test
if
all
you're
of them.
surrounded, though. That's the difference. Word of Radiance is solid when you're surrounded, but it's not a ranged attack. It's still very limited what it's useful for.
This is true. I just felt like I could definitely get rid of that for guidance. I like it a little bit more as a cantrip, especially for out of combat stuff. But yeah, I definitely want to get the +1 crossbow because there are certain situations where just having a straight weapon attack will serve me better. And keeping my weapon at least close to in line with my cantrip's power is kind of what I'm going for. That's why my mace is a glorified torch, because I never really intend to use it as a weapon.
That's funny. My mace is a glorified torch.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
puts
right.
the
I put light on my mace because it's like this is what I use this for.
like the
Though
Statue of Liberty.
basically you could think of it like that. I just hold up the mace and it's like it's glowing because that's all I'm really gonna use this thing for. I'm not gonna hit anything with the mace
That's the best
unless
reference
I get like
ever. That's like all I picture now is him holding up like the flaming like Statue of Liberty thing, the brazier or whatever.
Do you want to
so
roll
we
for
cast
the
light.
Gauntlets of Ogre Power?
Oh, I was gonna wait and look at the book. My bad. I'm not really sure if that's like actually useful for me because I'm pretty sure I use dexterity for all my stuff. And like I really honestly when I made this character, I was expecting to be a ranged like character, but it just has worked out with the group that it's better when I'm like kind of up close and personal with everything because he's like kind of tanky. So I don't know, I may do like a weapon +1, but I kind of want to look at the book and I don't want to do like where I go for my armor really high because I already have pretty decent armor. Just because I feel like that kind of messes with the whole way everything works for everybody if one person has like particularly high armor.
Yeah, I'm happy with my 16 armor class. I don't really intend to change it.
Well, if you're still looking,
Well,
let
I
me
only
have
have
you roll.
15.
Let me have you roll a D100 right now.
Oh yeah, no worries.
This is for a bag of holding
Oh, definitely. It's always
because
good to have.
I really hate that you guys don't have one. Nope, never mind. They don't have one. It's the shit show of I hate having a party loot list, but there are certain things that I understand that people don't just want to put on their character, and people abuse the party loot list and forget that they are holding shit that has weight, essentially in a void, and put no effort into acquiring a bag of holding. Um, but
What's
at
the
that,
benefit of that? It basically takes away the weight value.
bag of holdings weigh 15 pounds. They essentially hold, it's like 60 square feet of space, which is essentially a 5 foot square on a battle map. And they can hold 500 pounds worth of shit.
So it's like what every video game character has when they carry like 20 weapons on them.
Yeah,
It's
it's
the
the
hammer
hand
space.
wave. I don't want to bother with this shit, but I want to allow people to actually collect shit.
Should just call it the hammer space pocket. When those cartoon characters reach into their pocket and they just pull out something bigger than themselves.
Yeah,
Yeah, like
that's like what I picture. Or like in Diablo, they have like the Horadric cube. So it's like this tiny little cube, but you could like put a bunch of shit in it.
Yeah, yeah. Always love those things.
So if there's anything else mundane that you all are looking for, they are essentially prepared to equip you with any mundane equipment. And that will essentially be it at that point.
Sweet.
Right?
I will look at the book like today or tomorrow and then send you a message on Discord or like post it in Discord, whatever I decide.
Right, did you guys do the bag of holding thing? Because I wasn't in the party loot list to adjust gold.
No, he rolled a 29. It was not available.
Gotcha,
Still a
gotcha.
wondrous item, so it's rare as fuck. I think that one it was.
Yeah.
It's essentially the same as the Gauntlets of Ogre Strength. So I generated 0 to 45 was none, 46 to 75 was 500, 76 to 85 was 400, 86 to 90 was 300, 91 to 95 was 200, 96 plus was 100.
Good to know.
What is it? It's like uncommon, rare, wondrous, and then like legendary or something like that.
No, wondrous
I think
essentially
epic is in
means
there.
that it is something a little bit more unique. Wondrous generally just means it's not a weapon and it's not armor. And it's not like a wand or a staff. But wondrous is kind of just like a I don't know, it's a different kind of placeholder. But it's essentially common, uncommon, rare, very rare, and then artifacts, I think.
So will it say like common, like wondrous, or like rare, like artifact or something like that?
Yeah, exactly. Like it'll say like wondrous, common, wondrous, uncommon. Essentially common stuff tends to be stuff that is used, like potions, like scrolls, ointments, dusts. Those tend to be the common stuff, things that are essentially like one use. Uncommon tends to be like the first tier of magical weapons or magical items. Rares tend to be like the good magical weapons. And then very rare is like end game magical weapons. And above that is like god tier.
Ah, okay. I will keep all that in mind when I look.
Quick question before we go. All of the scrolls we have are still under items needing identification. Have they been identified? Should I move them up to scrolls?
Uh, you guys could go through El Chirel and have them identify items for you.
Yeah, let's do that. I'm gonna move them up to scrolls. How much would that run us?
They won't charge you for that.
Okie dokie.
Like, this is the first time you guys are in like a civilized and magical area in this campaign. Greenest is a farm town. Like, there's a reason that there's not meant to be magical shit in that place, and the gifts from Star Song were so important because it was what magical stuff Shantia had in her temple, and that priest gave them to you all for saving the temple.
Well, no, once you said it like that, it makes perfect sense that that's literally like the farm that feeds like all the area around, but it's not like it's a town, it's not a city.
Yeah, like this whole area between Candlekeep and that's like the breadbasket of the Sword Coast. That when they get raided and have their food destroyed, like they're going to starve on some level, but they'll live. The rest of the Sword Coast will feel that more than anyone else because most other people, it's essentially an industrialized society that most of the other people don't grow food. So when that shit goes and disappears, all of a sudden a lot of people starve and die.